Oh, I got my grinder. Cool. I was worried.
Hello, friends. Are we live?
I think we're live.
I think we're live.
Dude,
This is how Dave. This is how Dave usually does it. Hello. Welcome. It's Thursday night. Instead of the Peace, Love, and Cope regular stream, I'm Aaron from SupportDopePeople.com, and I have gathered my smartest internet friends, Cole Preston from thecolememo.com and Dave from Peace, Love, and Cope, and we're here to talk about what's going on with rescheduling. What's up, boys? How are you? The three dope dudes return.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
What is up, my friend?
What's going on? How are we all?
It's a crazy Thursday.
It is a crazy Thursday. We're all like, everybody's getting messages and links. It's been kind of crazy all day, but we wanted to get the three dope dudes together and just kind of try and break down what the heck is going on with this state cannabis rescheduling. What do you guys think?
Well,
what do you guys think?
When you put up the basically our bat signal, I was like, oh, duty calls.
Yeah. Duty calls.
So we put on the shades.
Put on the shades.
Shirt.
Yeah.
We're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I let's just get right into it. Like Cole Preston, what is your take on state cannabis rescheduling that happened today via executive order by the Trump administration and the new acting attorney general? Apparently Pam Bondi couldn't get this done, right?
That's what it seemed. That's what seems to have occurred. Yeah, I don't know all about what occurred there, but yeah, the acting attorney general, is that yeah, acting attorney general, made an order today, a final order, and it's interesting. I'll just say that who knows how this will all play out, but it seems like they're taking a different approach. They are rescheduling marijuana by way of the single convention on narcotic drugs. I have a clip from Boris Jordan we can play where he talks about it a little bit more authoritatively and how that approach is different from the previous presidential administration. What that means and if it means it'll actually happen or what that looks like. I think tonight the headline is we have more questions than answers, but I'm happy to tell everybody my questions, and I'm sorry I didn't really give you a great answer, but I'll have a lot of questions to share tonight.
Yeah.
So, and thoughts,
I can piggyback what you just said. Everything is still pretty up in the air, though there was a mention of some movement, and though there is some movement, what movements that are or that is yet to be seen, and the interpretation of how it goes. I've read through most of the DOJ's actual law, and there are some things that I have questions also, so we can all kind of work together to figure them out. But I'd be happy more than anything, Cole, if you want to lead us off with a video and we can kind of piggyback that thing, or Aaron, if you have one, whatever.
I also have one. This is from PBS News. This is Trump. This is just a small excerpt from the rescheduling little meeting that they had where they talked about it today. If I could add that as cool, is that cool? And then we can move. You said it was Boris Johnson, correct?
The CEO and chairman, I believe, of Curaleaf, Boris Jordan, and
Boris Jordan. I'm sorry, I always say Johnson.
It's okay. That's the guy with Trumpy like hair from UK. But I dropped that link in our private chat when you want to pull that up. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, fantastic. You're the man. All right, cool. Let me add this one, and then let's watch this and see what they say.
Sweet.
Maybe you want to talk about rescheduling while we're here and just say what you're doing and the progress that you've made.
Right. Well, Mr. President, today is another promise made, promise kept day. On December 18th, you signed an executive order on increasing medical marijuana and cannabidiol research, and today we delivered on that promise. The Acting Attorney General this morning signed an order that moves into Schedule 3 medical marijuana products that are FDA approved or that are state licensed. This is a giant move forward to implement your promise, and it's actually a campaign promise that you made. You said where you're going to move into Schedule 3 to increase the research on these medical products. And just wanted everyone to know that, one, you make promises, you keep them, and two, what does Schedule 3 mean for state licensed medical marijuana products? We will begin implementation right away of this order. It does not legalize marijuana. It makes it easy for the researchers to actually study and understand medical marijuana, especially in populations that are using it. We know that 1 in 10 seniors right now use medical marijuana in the past year, and they report that it really helps them, but we don't have the science or the understanding to guide the patients and the doctors, and so both patients and doctors are flying blind without knowing how they interact with other medications because the research has been difficult to do. And so your promise today says those state licensed medical marijuana products are now in Schedule 3, and we expect the research to significantly increase so that we can understand how to guide patients and doctors in this effort. And there will be additional actions that will come this summer to do an expedited hearing for the administrative hearing of the Department of Justice for all of marijuana to move into Schedule 3.
And the military is very happy about it, and a lot of people suffering from big problems, which this seems to be the best answer. They're very happy about it, so the rescheduling is starting, and that's a big thing, rescheduling. They kept saying, what about the rescheduling? And so, great job, I appreciate it.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.
Thanks for playing that, Aaron.
I mean, obviously, it's the least I can do. We're using their content and that they have worked hard to do. So, support dope people and, support good causes. So what do you guys think about that?
Dave?
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, I mean, there's more confusion going on than there is some positive movement, but there is a massive amount of confusion that is happening because of the way that they're going about this, at least to me. But I could see how, if I'm confused by it, how this will spill over into the market, and then how it's interpreted and handled will be, again, something to be seen. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to take anything that's said in those press conferences like worth anything, it's just hard for me. Maybe it's just my personal lens watching those things, but yeah, it's interesting. Putting maybe disagreements aside or whatever, like you certainly didn't have this type of conversation in the Oval Office, like streamed live on the internet in the past. Yeah, we'll get into some of those things. I definitely have thoughts on how it might affect homegrown.
That's actually the one thing that I'm very, very excited about, is that eventually you will be able to. You can bring your Schedule 3 medicine across state lines. So this allows for interstate commerce and travel.
Arguably,
eventually, not right now, but once it becomes medicine and is accepted as medicine, then, because it is state sponsored medical cannabis.
I just want to respond to Brandon really quick. Brandon, unfortunately, flying is everything that I know. Flying's a no-go. You're still in federal airspace, and federally this is illegal. So
if you are flying to from a place that has adult use of responsible cannabis to a place that has adult use responsible cannabis, if you look on the TSA website, they say our job is not to check for cannabis.
Correct.
And
on the ground,
they generally do not. And
on the ground,
I'm just talking about personal experience. I'm just talking about personal experience.
It is a federal airspace, and
Sure.
Again, I don't know that they're trying to make examples of people playing with small amounts of cannabis, but if you walk
I
into
mean-
a plane with a bunch of loud and you start fucking, I know my rights. They just rescheduled this shit. I don't think that it's going to go as well as we believe that it would.
Yeah, eventually you should be able to, Brandon. I personally have watched people fly with O's of rosin and flour in their carry-ons.
Yeah. How do you prove that the cannabis you got is Schedule 3 medical cannabis?
That's another great question, because in the DOJ's whatever they just signed or whatever, it does 100% state packaging and stuff will all abide by state rule. And from state to state, in Illinois, you're allowed to have Illinois cannabis. In Michigan, you're allowed to have Michigan cannabis. In Florida, you're allowed to have Florida cannabis. Illinois cannabis is not legal in Michigan. Michigan cannabis is not legal in Florida, and vice. It just, yeah. So there's some weird. That's where, like, interpretably, yes, things got better, but it's interpretable still, and I don't want to be on the wrong side of interpretation.
Yeah. And I'll just play like both sides of this, because I asked, again, we've got more questions than answers. So if you could bring my screen up, I've got the rescheduling document up.
Absolutely.
And so this actually has perfect context. So up at the top here, you'll see this final order places in Schedule 3 FDA approved drugs that contain Delta 9 THC falling within the CSA's definition of marijuana, specifically FDA approved drug products containing Delta 9 THC derived from the plant, which, by the way, that's a whole other question. But here's the line that most people are thinking of: and marijuana subject to a state medical marijuana license. Now, yeah, exactly. How will they know where the weed came from? Great question, right? And I mean, it still stands. I'm not about to have an answer to that question, but what I will say is I asked this question in a room of, advocates that are also combing through this policy, and while I admitted I feel like I'm reaching here, I also don't think it's a crazy reach, and they agreed. So that's why I want to share. So I'll just briefly read this. This section starts with existing state regulatory systems, and it says, over the last 3 decades, 40 U.S. states have legalized the sale and use of marijuana for medical purposes as a matter of state law and have established systems to regulate this activity. States that have authorized medical marijuana have done so through a licensing regime that restricts cultivation, manufacture, and distribution to entities approved by a designated state agency, typically a Department of Health, which is what home growers are approved by, Department of Agriculture, which is what licensed growers are approved by, or a dedicated cannabis regulatory authority. So here's where I also think there's a little bit of wiggle room for home grow. State medical licensing regimes oversee permissible uses of medical marijuana. They confine distribution to registered patients or caregivers through approved dispensaries or other authorized channels. I would call, and because they brought up caregivers specifically, I would call home cultivation an authorized channel. So that's my take, and there's much more to get into, but I think that was actually a really great way to just dive into the topic, because we just covered what this final order supposedly does, which is makes state medical cannabis
Right.
and FDA drugs that have cannabis Schedule 3. It is interesting that it says anything that falls out of that system, and I can find that exact quote in a moment, but it is interesting that it does say like anything that's with the outside of medical cannabis, a state medical cannabis program or one of those products, that it's still Schedule 1 marijuana. And that takes us back to the question, how do I prove that I cultivated? Like, I mean, I guess they just have to take it at my word. Like, I cultivated this. It's in my jar, which is an approved, that is an authorized channel for me to acquire medical cannabis. I just did a lot of talking and didn't really provide any clarity, but you see how my head's turning on this. I'm curious what you guys think.
I mean, and I know why you asked this too, Cole, because you are one of the champions of how, at least in Illinois, we're still writing laws to put people in jail for cannabis, and how we don't actually have laws that say what we don't actually have odor-proof containers, and they haven't specified what an odor-proof container or what an approved container is, because home grow is legal in some states, and in Illinois, if you have a license, and you can carry what you cultivate or keep what you cultivate. How do you prove that it's not not state, like you say? How do you prove that? And so they're going to have to write some sort of law and figure that part out if they hope to continue on the path that they are on, I believe.
Right. I will just say that, obviously none of us are able to give legal advice, but one thing we hear a lot of home growers say in the state of Illinois with regard to traveling with their homegrown product is that they'll go out of their way to go and buy a package from the dispensary,
Absolutely.
put their home grow in it, just because it just takes away the questions. If you have a bunch of big bags or jars, it's a different, for some reason, the police officers, they just freak out if they have to know that cannabis was taxed.
Well, I mean, because
I'm just
that's
making
what
a
it
joke,
is.
but
You're right. I mean, you say it in jest, but it's true. Like, we're talking about taxed cannabis versus untaxed cannabis.
A lot of times too, they care quantity over, I don't want to say quality, but like where it's coming from most of the time, right? And that's at least what I've seen across the board. I'm not saying that you couldn't be dinged for like, it just feels weird. I don't even know what they would say. Like, that's not Schedule 3. That's not from this state. And let's all just
look
remember
what they just did to Ohio. Ohio just wrote the law saying that unless it's Ohio cannabis, it's illegal.
Yeah, let's just remember that this is purely talking about medical cannabis programs still, which, if you listen to the two dope dudes or Cole et al., we all report on the numbers of what's going on around. And medical cannabis programs are tiny in comparison to the adult use programs that aren't covered in this rescheduling.
Genetic Memory Farms. You just got to go to the grocery store. They sell those bags there. Did you have more of this, Cole, that you wanted to talk about? Because I also have this poll that I wanted to drop and see what people thought. Your mic is muted.
Thank you.
You're
Let's
welcome.
do that poll, and I'll pull up more content that we can comb through.
Fantastic. I got a couple videos too, and we also got your video. Hey, chat, check this out. Who benefits most from Schedule 3? MSOs, big business, medical patients, or the government? Let's see how this works. I'm not sure.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, this is
Cast
I
your
don't-
votes, people.
yeah. I don't know how that works. Is that only for us?
No, I
Well,
think they type something in the chat. Let me see.
Oh,
Let me
sick.
type in the chat.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat is
Oh,
what
nice.
for your vote.
Sweet. Yeah, new thing. Wanted to check it out and see what people thought. There you go. Type 1, 2, 3, or 4. Tell us what you think. Please and thank you. Just trying something new. Having fun. 3 dope dudes. Sorry it's covering Dave up. That's terrible, actually.
No, it's all right.
Let me see.
They can still hear me.
Yeah, 1s, 2s, 4s. I got a couple 1s. You guys see any clear winners yet? MSOs.
No, I think we're seeing the government or MSOs, which Yeah. Can I elaborate on this
Mm-hmm.
vocally? Yeah.
Please, Dave.
So there is some benefit to the MSOs, I would say, and
How so?
there is some benefit to even the medical patient, as much as we hate to say it. But the government easily takes the cake here. MSOs will win through 280E alleviation, but it's on the medical side of things. And as we report constantly, there's like $1.4 billion worth of sales done in Illinois, and 10% of that, 140 million, if that is done medicinally.
Right.
So, and what sucks is that only benefits like 55 dispensaries. There are 200 plus in the state now. So only the ones who are medical license holders are the ones who are benefited here. So MSOs can't be the big winner because a lot of MSOs benefit more from adult use. And the medical patient benefits by honestly potential testing and research that can be done on the plant. And that's always been like my favorite aspect of things. So the more research we can do to directly tie medicinal benefit to the thing, I'm all for it. So the medical patients win in that regard when that happens. Small businesses, at least in Illinois, do not win from that. Small businesses and craft dispensaries and stuff, those are adult use and won't win. And then the government obviously wins in many ways, but ultimately in a better a tax structure that will flow upwards.
I mean, that is a big thing that oh, nice. And then it takes there. See, it actually tells us if you look in the top right there. That's awesome. It looks like the government is the winner currently. That's pretty correct. The government, I agree. The government's the one that's going to win because they've realized that they can monetize this. Like that's what's going on. Cole, did you have some more stuff for here? While this poll's going on? Or I can also bring up this video.
Yeah, bring up a video. Yeah, I don't have anything specific. I mean, I think it'd be cool to maybe run through the order. I'm just kind of glancing at it right now to jog my memory. But yeah, let's watch a video.
Sure. Let me bring this. I might have to remove this one and go here, add this one. You guys all get to hear me talk when I move stuff around here. You said this is Boris from Curaleaf, correct?
Yeah. So this is their take, and I think it's notable to listen to the industry's take, especially because this sounds a lot like what I saw Kim
Rivers,
thank you, the CEO of TrueLeaf, saying on Twitter this morning what he's saying, but he also kind of goes into more detail about the difference that this presidential administration is, like the different approach. And I found it notable. I had not heard anybody, because I kept seeing this convention referenced. And so anyways, yeah, let's watch the clip. I should start right at the moment I'm talking about.
I think
I have it linked with a timestamp. So
yes, yeah. I was just making sure it wasn't muted.
Forward, and now it becomes a reality. But what was your reaction once you finally got the news?
Obviously, we're elated with the decision. For some people like me, been involved in this sector for almost 15 years, 14 and a half years. We've been waiting for this for a long time. And ironically, a Republican administration is the one that got it over the line. And listen, there's a lot of confusing information. There's still a lot to get digested. I think we're going to be looking for more guidance from both Treasury, the IRS, the DOJ, the White House. And I think there's been a lot of misunderstood things, but it is a very, very important decision. It's a good decision, and happy to get into it to clarify some of the things that I think people are misunderstanding about it.
Yeah. One thing that jumped out immediately was the DOJ language was how specific they were. They didn't say marijuana broadly. They didn't say cannabis products. They said state licensed medical marijuana. That's a very deliberate, I think, phrase. And it's the first time the federal government has formally acknowledged the legitimacy of state medical programs. How did you
56
interpret
years.
that wording? And how should, I think, the industry interpret that wording?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that the rescheduling process by the Trump administration is being done under two very different processes here, right? So they're using the United Nations Single Convention on narcotic drugs to reschedule the medical portion of cannabis in the United States, right? So they're not using the Biden DOJ ALJ procedure. They are using the UN treaty. That is the same treaty, the same process that's been used by Germany, by the UK, by Canada, by Australia, by most countries in the world have used that process to take this drug off the narcotics list and legalize it.
It's good.
So that's what they've done with medical. You cannot, under that rule, you cannot reschedule anything but medical. And that's why they used that to reschedule. And that's what they've been very specific on FDA approved and state medical licenses under that. The second procedure, which they also announced today, is that they canceled the old ALG process, but they did not cancel the rule that was written by the Biden administration. They're just restarting that on June 29th. They've already appointed a new ALJ from another department, because the DEA at the moment does not have an ALJ. They found another ALJ judge from a different department of the government that's going to step in on June 20th. Is going to run the hearing. And then that will address what we all call the adult use part of the cannabis space in the country for rescheduling.
Is the way that they've come at this surprise?
Probably a good spot to stop.
Yeah.
Here's a question. I don't mean to jump right to it, but because they talked about the convention or the treaty or whatever the hell, and that Germany, some other country, and Canada use that to do medical. Here's the question: how did Canada do legalization?
Well, they
they
legalized it across all the provinces.
Fair, yeah, but I meant like if he's saying it would be
federally run there. It's like it's federally run through the mail there.
Yeah. Maybe I misunderstood what he was saying. If he was saying it was out of accordance with a treaty, I'm like, well, then how does a hearing this June change that?
Well, I believe the hearing in June is for adult use recreational cannabis and not medical cannabis, because the treaty, he's saying the UN treaty that they have to move scheduled drugs up and down the schedule list is something that they can do. But rescheduling cannabis federally or any drug has to be done through what they were calling the Biden era DOJ ADJ rulemaking process. So that's what the difference is there, and unless I'm 100% misunderstanding it. Yes or no?
No, I think
that sounds about right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like I say, just right now we have so many questions and some things,
What about you? What about chat? What are your questions about rescheduling? That's also what we would like to hear. What are your questions? What are you thinking?
Yeah, can I?
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Let me chime in and just respond to a few people.
Sure.
John Boyd said earlier that the shareholders would possibly win during this process. I am not a financial advisor, whatever, but if you look at what has gone on with cannabis stocks over the last couple of days, the talks of this came about, everything shot through the roof. When Joe Rogan was in there doing the Ibogaine, stocks went through the roof because there was a talk about it. Let's get on this descheduling thing. And then today the descheduling came out, or the rescheduling came out, and everything dumped again. A lot of brands down, or a lot of tickers down 10+% on the day. So it seems like one step forward and not, I don't want to say 2 steps back because that seems stupid, but it is a slight step in the right direction. But I don't know that shareholders are benefited from this at all currently. And then as far as MSOs having write-offs, again, the MSOs, we're talking 2 license schedules, like the recreational adult use, which MSOs are biggest for, versus medical things, which there's plenty of states that don't have adult use, but they're also limited income places, right? You're only $100 million of a program, where we're talking in the billions now. So you'd rather be in the adult use, but the tax write-offs are real, and that is something that is going to happen. The other thing that I was going to mention, it was to Cole's point, the Canada thing versus, because Canada rescheduled or did their thing under. I'm with you on that. I don't know, because if that UN thing, and that was what got me a little bit weirded out, was reading into that UN thing today. I didn't know that there was a bigger treaty that kind of played over what the Controlled Substances Act says we're doing. And once I found that out, now that you mentioned that about the how did Canada change their thing, that's a damn good question. But
here are my thoughts on Aaron. Though, did you have something to say? Sorry.
Oh, I was actually just looking up what the name of the treaty is.
Oh yeah, it's right at the beginning of the document.
Yeah.
Very top of the document.
Oh, which
I can paste it in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry. The document that I'm displaying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It is Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs from 1961. So, yeah, I do think there is a big return for shareholders and these cannabis companies based on this. So Dave covered a really important base that we hadn't covered, which is that. Do you mind throwing this on the screen? Because I think this is a important part to show. No, you're good. You're good. I just pulled it up. So, but the administration noted that as a consequence of this rule, state medical marijuana licenses will no longer be subject to the deduction disallowance imposed by Section 280E. That's what Dave just covered.
Yeah.
The part that I think, so that'll make them right there. Like you said, that'll be a big deal, but this is the bigger deal. And this isn't official, and it makes that clear at the end of this, but the administrator encourages the Secretary of the Treasury to consider providing retrospective relief.
Which is
in
huge.
other words, yeah, that's going to be big because
there's hundreds of millions of dollars of back taxes in a couple of these companies.
Yeah, and I wonder if some of them even took care of that. And then you wonder about some of the companies that went under as probably a result of this.
Yeah.
How does that? But anyway.
Cole, can you go up to the end of page 18?
Yeah.
And the beginning of 19.
End of page 18, beginning of 19.
There you go. Look, you've even got it fucking highlighted there.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
It is an interesting one. And down below, if you go to the next part, just slightly below it, I think that's where it starts to talk about the fees that they're going to have to pay to be a Schedule 3 thing through. Go ahead, Cole.
Oh, I was going to say this is the other part of this is the last point, but I want to let you continue. I'm just going to say it briefly. The fact that it spells out very clearly that these state licensed medical cannabis companies essentially get like a VIP pass. They don't say it that way. They say it like expedited approval through the FDA. That I wonder, I'm not saying this with authority because I have no idea, but you have to wonder if that measurably increases the value of these licenses.
Well, again, to like the medical ones kind of, but the medical market isn't It's just not doing it.
So
No, I just mean as like an entity, like you could sell, like I'm not gonna say a name because I don't want to give people. I'm big cannabis company A, and I have a medical license in several states, and like now I have fast track approval to the FDA, which
That's
not a
right.
lot of people get, and so I'm like, well, I don't really want to do the FDA game. I'm gonna flip this license to somebody who does have that capital.
But
That's what I was saying.
What I'm wondering here, though, too, is do you have to? Just because you have it, you have to be?
I don't get the impression that you do. It's
no,
just
that's what I'm saying. I think you're,
Yeah.
I think you're nailing it. And like, I don't know what the implications are of getting the $3,000 license as a manufacturer or the $1,800, because it says right there specific pricing on what they're gonna. And I don't know what a distributor versus a dispenser is, and a manufacturer. Like a manufacturer and a distributor should be one and the same, but maybe they're gonna force people who are cultivation to pay both.
But my thing about this specific section is it has to do with Schedule 3 FDA approved drugs and not the state, because they vary in this document. They talk about both. Like that's the two.
Yeah, but if you don't get this license, are you going to be able to write off, because you wouldn't have Schedule 3 FDA approval cannabis anymore, because you're not, like, I from what I'm reading in this is that it's not just like a light switch that went up and then now everybody is a Schedule 3 cannabis thing. Like I'm wondering through that bottom part right there, like that's the one part to me that seems like it's a pay to play thing. And then obviously if you have a medical license, you pay to play because then you get the tax write-offs. And it's just like, why wouldn't you? Right. But at the same time, now you're under a different level of scrutiny that isn't just, and though this document lays out that they're going to ride the tails of, the state driven programs already, if it just doesn't leave you open to like a weird level of oversight or that just, I don't know.
Yeah, I get the impression the state law is just going to continue, but here's the part where it's like there is going to be an expedited review process for entities holding state licenses who seek registration as a dispenser, and then you have to work with the DEA. You have to do.
That's what I'm saying.
Stuff.
Like,
yeah.
So it didn't just flip a switch, and not all medical licenses are now Schedule 3 approved. You have the ability to become Schedule 3 approved according to a federal guidelines.
Yes. Yeah.
Which
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
It's like there's going to be two lanes. There's going to be the dispensary still, and I think that's going to somehow be Schedule 3. And it does say, and I'll find it here in a moment, I think this answers your point. It does say that if you're going to continue doing this route like the way that it is, you do have to apply for some federal permit, but it's the state rules that apply.
This is similar to how we ran the hemp programs too. They wrote the law to say as long as your state has laws and abides by the USDA federal guidelines,
here's one
we're
part.
not going to fuck with you.
Here's one part. A registered dispenser may dispense. I'll go to the part where it talks about applying for that permit that is part of this discussion here to actually get it that Schedule 3 status. But this is part where it says once you're registered, you may dispense marijuana and products containing marijuana to individuals authorized by state law to possess marijuana, subject to the limitations of its state license, right?
Oh, and that's my whole point is that you don't just get a light switch that flips. You have to register through the federal side of things. And like you were saying, if there's a extra level of scrutiny that goes on, an extra level of paying, going through licensing or whatever it is through the Fed side, and it also says that like after 3 years, if you don't keep up to date on your thing, like they'll pull your federal license again. So like,
yeah,
there's this confusion where like the federal thing adds a layer of something to the state given rights, but like your state given rights are still there. So you don't have to do the federal thing.
This part's interesting. The DEA is recognizing this action may have unique economic impacts. Marijuana is subject to a number of state laws that have allowed a multi-billion-dollar industry to develop.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to find that part that you were talking about.
Yeah, please do, because I was reading through this and I did not get through the entire thing. I probably got right about to where you're at right now, I feel like, and I might have skimmed over it, but just my interpretation of this thing was that, like, it could be beneficial, but they almost didn't define enough of it for me personally to when I'm reading it, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. And I didn't, when it says go to section 202 on section D on some other law, I didn't go through all of that. And it cites a lot of it on the bottom, but of each of these pages. But
I think page 21 does a lot of legwork to try to do stuff too. Like you see things like causing the least disruption for patients and existing state systems. They're talking about incorporating state licensing systems into the federal registration framework just because it's the most effective.
Yeah, they're just going to piggyback it. They wouldn't, because if they come out and try to force you to do something, everybody, it would just flip. It would be flipping the switch, and it would force everybody to do what they're saying to do instead of allowing each state to still have, because there's nuance from state to state in their medical programs. So their medical programs are going to stay the exact same. There will be no difference to it. The difference that I see is if you pay to play, you get some tax relief, and you have the ability to submit your product for a DEA approval, which then you can say, you can write it on the side of your thing, Schedule 3 drug, DEA approved. It's literally going to be a marketing ploy for a lot of these people to go, look, we've got the most compliant cannabis. We've got the most legal cannabis. Our medical program is, I think it's more of a, like I said, it feels like it's not a fail-proof verbiage here. I feel like there's going to be a lot of tug of war back and forth, and like, when it talks about also exporting and importing, that's verbiage that makes for another topic that we could just go nutso on, because exporting and importing, when they talk about it, they say at the federal level. They say in this document, I think it says over federal, whatever boundaries. What are they called? You know what I'm talking about.
Jurisdiction? I don't know. But
imaginary lines, man.
Yeah,
it's all just imaginary lines.
That's all I'm talking about.
I am looking for a part that specifically says something to the effect of like the federal government would be able to, under this, they have like some authority, and I'm really gonna try to find this. I apologize. I'm zooming up and down, so if I'm making,
you can probably control F it too.
Well, I can't because it's a PDF without like actual text. Yeah, it's disgusting. This is what they do to us. But it's something to the effect of like if there's like understood to be public harm or something like that, like public concern or something like that.
That's laws altogether, right? If as long as you hurt somebody else or hurt the property, that's when they come into play and laws take precedence. But like
here's my question that I want to ask before I forget again. So we were talking about how it doesn't actually say that it's required that you go through the DEA, correct? So
it's not. The thing is it's not required.
It provides a pathway for.
If you want your products to be sold in Walgreens,
sure,
that's a different process.
But they're not. But okay, and I hear you there. But that's my point. Was they can, if they think that they're going to get their products represented at the same level as Marinol or Epidiolex, then they buy this license from the federal government and they're allowed to submit their products to the DEA for approval. But that process costs a lot of money too.
Sure.
So you're going to have to pick and choose which one of your products makes sense to submit to them. And then the scrutiny that is a DEA approval, like, are you going to meet the consistency and quality needed to be a DEA approved drug? So who the hell is submitting their, Skittles and going, hey, here's my bud, DEA, tell me that this is Schedule 3 cannabis? That's not what I think that they're looking for anyway. What they might be looking for is a tincture or an RSO or something of that nature that has a consistent cannabinoid profile that the government could get behind, or that the DEA could go, okay, there's a consistency here, we're into it. But like, otherwise you're getting it approved for research, which is great too. And like I was just saying, that's like the side of this that I hope gets more exploited, but that's not the business side of it. Like, unfortunately, and that's my whole point, is that like, if you want to become part of the business side, you're going to try and find a product that you can give to the DEA that they're going to approve. So like you said, we can sell it at Walgreens or any CVS, whatever, sell it over at the pharmacy. But that also too, like I said, the process to get a drug approved by the DEA is unbelievably expensive. We're talking upwards of millions of dollars.
$1 million per device per piece. We've talked about this before. My question is that it also allows for 280E. So like, do you have to actually do one to get the 280E tax write-off?
That's what I'm saying. You're not just going to get the 280E without getting the DEA approval. You're not Schedule 3. You're just operating under the state license, and you're not operating under the federal license. Now, does the state give you state tax breaks immediately because of this? I don't know, but you would rather have federal tax breaks. The people that are out there, we talked about them recently. There's, I don't know if it's Curaleaf and Verano, but these guys have hundreds of millions of dollars of back taxes that is owed.
Yeah, that's right.
I think this is what makes Aaron think that, and I think you make a good point. And how it like plays together with the actual application of the federal license. But it's like, these are where all the questions come when it says things like this. The acting attorney general further notes that as a consequence of this rule, state licensees will no longer be subject to the deduction disallowance. Like, that's saying state licensees. It's not even talking about the FDA approved route.
Right.
Well,
so
scroll back up, but it says that applies only to
businesses engaged in trafficking in controlled substances in a Schedule 1 or 2, 26 U.S. Penal Code 280E.
Yeah, nothing in this rule constitutes a determination regarding federal tax liability.
Well, I mean, it does look like at least they should be able to try.
Well, and this is where Mike, I posted a video today to your point, determining federal tax liability. Like, what if you are selling in adult use dispensaries as well? Well, then you're selling it over the counter to people that don't have a medical card, and apparently that's Schedule 1. So maybe these companies will stop doing that.
Well, and that's how did that? Bingo. They're literally intermingled businesses where one side of a stanchion, literally a roped off area, is the difference between medical and adult use. And the difference in the back end is literally the difference in moving it from one side to the other, moving it from one of your tracking systems to the other tracking system, and granted, you take in the product as one side or the other, but in the past, at least, and I don't know if they still allow it, they did allow for the transfer of product from your adult use dispensary over to your medical dispensary in the back end. So like, yeah.
Yeah, and Genetic Memory Farms, if you missed it, I had some speculation early on how this could help individuals with home grow, just to put it lightly. There's some verbiage that says something like, medical patients and caregivers can, acquire cannabis from state licensed medical dispensaries or authorized channels. And my reach is that an authorized channel, especially if you're going to bring up caregivers, what do caregivers generally do? Yes, they pick up cannabis and bring it to you. You could call that an authorized channel, but the most common, I think, connotation of caregiver is somebody who takes care of your plants.
Yeah.
Grows for you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we should absolutely have home grow. It's ridiculous that the government tries to tell us that we can't grow a plant that is just a natural thing.
This is interesting. Illinois kind of complies with what this is laying out. Not, you could maybe argue not completely, but I could argue that, anyway, state authorized medical marijuana certifications or similar documents are sufficient to permit the dispensing of medical marijuana to users, provided they include the user's name and address, are dated and signed on the day of issuance, and identify the issuing practitioner. All of that information is on the IDPH portal. You know what I mean? So it's like a way that it's like we wouldn't have to make anything new to comply with this, is my read on this.
I mean, that's definitely a plus.
Who knows?
But that doesn't state right there in that statement that now this is a Schedule 3 because of it. It's just saying that you're still permitted to do as you've been able to do in the state under your laws to begin with. Like, it doesn't just automatically turn it into a Schedule 3 substance because you're state licensed. Like, that's what I'm reading from this, and I might have it completely wrong, and I'm okay with it, but like I said, it feels like to me like a pathway for you to get the approval to do this thing, and not a light switch. All of a sudden, everybody's in.
Yeah,
and I wonder what this does for recreational dispensaries. Like, because just because we have the rescheduling that's coming, the rescheduling meeting that's coming in October. I mean, what happens to recreational dispensaries now? Like, some of the social equity ones could just, like, what about the ones that failed? What about the ones that are never going to get a medical license now? What about?
Well, that's Tom Howard. You guys know Tom. He's saying I saw him tweeting all the cannabis companies today saying Schedule 3 is here for state medical cannabis. Time for GTI to back hybrid dispensary bills. Your adult use stores could immediately serve medical patients and get 280E relief. These bills are stuck in rules. MSOs like GTI can make a difference. He basically tagged all the big MSOs and said basically the same thing.
That was Todd Howard, right?
Tom Howard.
Tom Howard, I'm sorry.
So, but back to, I still don't know too, Dave. I don't know. I'm like really interested to see how this all plays out. And everybody has asked me, like, before this happened, like, how I feel about it. I'm like, look, obviously I want it to deschedule, but either way, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But back to your point, the one statement that stood out to me that I know a lot of people are talking about is where it specifically spells out, and I'll have to find it in this document, but I've got this quote because, again, everybody's been talking about it. Because, again, it kind of goes back to the question we started with. Marijuana or marijuana-derived products that are not distributed through a state medical marijuana program will continue to be classified in Schedule 1.
Which they have been the whole time.
Right. My point is, though, you're talking about light switch. I think everybody, it seems like the connotation, even Tom Howard was saying, it seems like the operators think, and we don't know yet, we're going to have to see. The operators think that because they have these state medical marijuana licenses that they're just going to be able to flip a light switch and get this 280E relief. And as you say, I think it's going to be a little bit more complicated.
I again, I hope that that is right, because again, the relief, I'm not against the relief for the companies, because I worked in them and I watched them operate at a very even playing field. A lot of them were operating at a loss, right? Because of a lot of this. Like, every other company in the world is able to write off their employees. Every other company is allowed to write off their expenses altogether. Cannabis companies don't have that. We understand that. But again, too, the 280E relief is only for the medical companies. So there will be some relief on a very small portion of what these companies are doing. If a company's doing $1 million or $2 million of medical sales, they're probably doing $10 million or $20 million of adult use sales. So, like, when we weigh this out, like, is it a win? It's kind of a win, and I'm not against it, and I hope all the best. But, like, yeah, my and I think I heard better what you're saying is that everything else is still Schedule 1, but everything has always still been Schedule 1. And even when if you look at like the top of this document, I don't know where it's at, maybe page 6 or something, they talk about how hemp is still
not part of the definition. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's not going to change until November. It's on page 6. It says it right there, November. Yep. Yeah, bingo. Well, it's the same thing. So we're still operating under a 0.3% Delta 9 dry weight.
Well, and we just saw today, right before we went live, that somebody Truth Socialed, our president, that he wants Congress to revisit the definition of hemp to allow for quote unquote full spectrum products, I believe is the quote. And so that will, I mean, they're talking about this definition effective November 12th. And yes, if nothing happens, that will take effect. And then, you know, that will be hemp. But Trump has said twice, once in the executive order, and I don't mean to say Trump, whoever wrote the executive order.
Yeah.
And then whoever wrote this Truth Social, if maybe it was him. He's referenced this like, hey, Congress needs to revisit it because of veterans. Like, it seems like that actually did make an impression. And so it'll be interesting to see, like, if Congress does revisit the definition. That happened right before we went live. He made it. So who knows how much weight he has, right? I'm not saying he does. This is, again, more questions than answers. We're having fun.
No, yeah. There's been...
Just pulling this up right here since we were talking about it. There you go.
Hemp-derived CBD. And I mean, he says, I'm calling on Congress to update the law to ensure that Americans can continue to access the full spectrum CBD products they've come to rely on, and that help them while preserving Congress. This is the interesting part, though. While preserving Congress's intent to restrict the sale of products that pose health risks.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes some nuance, because it's like, okay, we want full spectrum, but so I don't know if they're just going to be like THC, you know, if they're going to make that list or whatever. Go ahead, Dave.
So then we can go back to also the other document on page 10. They're talking about how the Health and Human Services recommended in August of 2023 that cannabis not be or get rescheduled to Schedule 3 because it has health benefits. On page 11 also, 2022, the NSDUH said that this was the most used drug in the world that, or in America that wasn't or that is cannabis. And it goes on to talk about how it's like far less imperative than other things that are in Schedule 1 and 2. So it's no doubt that like the product itself should be reclassified or rescheduled, but the way that it is unfolding here, it's like I was saying, I think it's just made it more confusing than it has really paved some truths about it. Like there are some things that seem like, okay, there's good potential coming forward. But I'm literally like, my big take from this, and again, I think this is where we can tug of war until we see it get implemented, until we see people not paying the taxes. But it literally says speak to your tax rep, because what my guesstimation is, if you go talk to a tax rep right now and say we're just operating under the current state law and we don't have a Schedule 3 license from the DEA, which the DEA is selling licenses, that your tax person is going to go, okay, well, you don't qualify for federal tax breaks if you're not recognized by the federal scheduling process. And I like I said, you without the license that they're telling you that you can purchase for 3 years, it's $3,700 and $1,900 and $1,600 or whatever it is. Without that, okay, so maybe with that, what's the benefit of it? Do you get you get the ability to submit your products to the DEA, and you get tax write-offs, and you get, that's my interpretation of it. And your product has a potential of being more federally accepted, but not unless you have the braces of that license, because your license as you hold it is just a license of your state. So I don't know. And I know I keep going in a circle on that one fucking statement, but it to me, when I read through this thing, and even then I went back and forth with, I use Perplexity, so sorry for using an AI to help kind of banter back and forth, but I kept asking, I'm like, so in this thing, is it a light switch? Is it going to automatically do it? And it kept pointing back to those same things. Like, there's going to be another license process that you have to go through. Pretty much, you have to get a federal approval to be federally approved.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was gonna say we had a couple other videos. I want to do. There is the Council for Normal and I believe he's former director for Normal in New York, and I thought he had some interesting things to say, and I wanted to bring that up if that's okay. Unless you had more with this, Cole.
No, I don't really have anything. I think my last, I think if it was a brief thought, is just like the difference between, I think if you did get and go through the FDA process and pay those fees Dave was talking about, the benefit would be you could feasibly do insurance, because it would be a prescription versus the recommendation at the state level. So I think that would be the benefit of going that way. I don't know,
Well,
I don't know.
Sad Boy right there just said, why would a state want to get approved when interstate isn't legal? This thing talks about import and export.
Yep.
Which means that if you are federally approved, you have the ability to import and export under the rules of, interstate commerce as far as Schedule 3 drugs go. But so I think that is the benefit. I think those are the things that you are purchasing that license for, is for interstate. But I wonder how that plays out then in an instance of, let's just, because we've got a perfect example. If Illinois, let's say a GTI has product in Illinois and a GTI has product in Michigan, they can't just send a fucking truck through Indiana because of their federal, that's under their state's program. It's not under the other state's program. The other state still has laws against medicinal cannabis use. So now are you in possession? And I think that, like I said, it lays the groundwork for something to happen, but have we hashed out all the issues of how that would take place? And I think that's what I like this panel thing for, and all of us kind of beating ideas off each other because of that. Like we do have a lot of there's a lot of interpretation left inside of this document that just got signed. But Cole, can you go to the bottom of page 6 really quick? It's my favorite thing, and I'm sure it just happens everywhere. Oh, this might be from another thing. Literally all the way at the bottom, as of November 12, 2026, this definition is revised to refer to a total tetrahydrocannabinol. You see how it says a total? What the hell is that? I don't know if it was just a typo on the big document, or if that's actually maybe there's more to that law than I'm reading, but a total tetrahydrocannabinol concentration. Yeah, right there.
John, because they're doing that later in June. And then interstate commerce is specifically outlawed, but this should allow it to become medicine and then make it legal, correct?
Interstate commerce is currently
illegal,
specifically outlawed, but
correct.
Under this new thing that they just brought out, they literally mention exports and imports. So this is laying the groundwork for interstate commerce. And if not, if it gets federally approved as an FDA or DEA approved, whatever the hell they get approval, are they then able to ship it to other countries as an import or export, like Canada? I know Africa takes in stuff. I know Australia takes in stuff. Like there's a lot of, and currently Canada has a big export program with cannabis. They ship cannabis all over the globe. So as long as it's Schedule 3 and allowed for medicinal purposes in other countries, now does that give them federal transferability, or is it just interstate? And that's what I'm saying. Like through this, we could read it a bunch. It's not clearly laid out in the way that it's like, you know.
There was only one line that made me, and it was a similar reach to what I had at the beginning of the episode. There was only one line that made me feel like maybe, but to your point, I didn't see anything that really clearly spelled it out. You know, because what I was wondering is there are some states that have like a trigger law. I think like Oregon, for example, like they have the laws ready to do it. It's just that they literally can't. You know.
They have a law saying that when it becomes federally legal, it like opens up in a whole bunch of other things. Correct?
Yeah, that's like cool. They have like I might be wrong. Chat, Google it, or I don't know. I can try to Google it too. I'm looking through this document to try to find what I thought. Again, I don't believe it's a clear answer, but I felt like there was one part where I was like, is that trying to say maybe with regard to that? Yeah. So,
yeah, this also, though there is 280E relief in the taxation thing.
I mean, that's huge. That's honestly
to
huge.
A degree, but it didn't allow for banking access. It doesn't allow for the same thing that, like, you see what I'm saying? Like there's still parts of the money transfer that isn't talked about in this process, that some tax relief would be very nice for a lot of these companies, and especially where if they're doing backed tax relief, that's huge for them. But yeah, we'll see. And if they're only doing back tax relief off of medical and not off of the entire company's existence, when I'm telling you that's 10% of it. It's 10% of their business if you're a big MSO. And if you're one of the big MSOs, like I said, those few names that owe $100+ million in taxes, are you only getting back tax relief from the medical portion of it? So only 10% of your tax fault is what you're getting relief from? Because
it does it seems like it does say that for taxable years in which a state license operated under a state medical marijuana license.
So again,
it's
$10 to $16 million of tax relief is great, but when you still owe $150 million,
But also, what does operating under a state medical marijuana license mean? Because as again, I don't have answers to these questions, but like if a craft cultivator that has an adult use license sells to a dispensary that has a dual license and a medical patient buys it, are
Ooh.
they not in a way selling medical cannabis? These are the questions, and I asked Tom Howard
That's
this.
a good question.
Say it again. Say it again.
No, I like
my brain
that.
needs to rehear this again.
So a craft cultivator that has an adult use license, it doesn't have a medical license.
ICC.
They can sell to dual licensed dispensaries, and a medical patient purchases it.
Then
Is that? I mean, that's medical. I purchased it through the state medical cannabis program. Are they? And I asked Tom this. I'm not saying I have answers. I asked Tom this, and he was like, "I like that question." He's like,
It's a great question.
That's fantastic.
You know,
Wow. That's actually that's brilliant.
it further shows just how silly this all is.
Yeah, like I said, there's cracks.
One thing Boris did speculate on today, Boris Jordan, I almost said Johnson, from Curaleaf,
Sorry,
was that when they get that federally legal status, if they get that license, he actually talked about the process. So I wish I would have thought where in the timestamp he talks about what he understands the process is going to be for him, because he talks about his footprint being heavily medical in Florida and everything else. And he's like,
I'm really
just ready
surprised
for it.
that
It's
they
whatever.
closed they're stopping their hemp drinks.
Right. Yeah.
Honestly, because Kim Rivers is not stopping their hemp drinks that they released last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But he was saying that he doesn't know, but he thinks that because at a point, if they got that license, which it goes to Dave's real point, if they got the DEA license, he's saying, well, hypothetically, we're federally legal, which hypothetically means we could be listed on the NASDAQ. That's what he said.
Yes.
So that would definitely provide more assurance for investors and could potentially have a boom there.
You just pretend that your company is a software solutions company instead of a cannabis thing and get it listed on.
They're just a different management group.
Well, there is a company, a very, very large company that has their shit listed in America as a software solutions for growing products.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's how you get around.
Sad Boy Bulls says Med doesn't pay rec tax. Yes, kind of.
Not
if you have
go
a
to
medical
dual-
license.
If again, I can go to a dual use license and like you say, buy a craft cultivator at the medical tax rate.
Yes.
But yeah, I can't.
And on the back end, how that works for people who have not worked in a dispensary, you literally take it into two separate parts. So you bring that product into your medical dispensary and sell it as a medical product, and you bring that same product into your recreational dispensary and sell it as a rec product. And the literal difference between the two is the tax rate. It is the same exact product brought into two different tracking systems. And that is the separation. So to Cole's point, like he absolutely nailed that question. Like it literally broke my brain. I had to have you tell me twice because I'm like, wait a minute.
We also got
so right.
no, because it's purchased from the rec side. And then our friend John, a shout out to my bud John. I love his reviews. Is it labeled medical? I think was his question about that.
My thing is it gets tracked on my medical cannabis purchase
Yeah,
history.
allotment, right?
100. That's what I literally just explained is that the same product goes through two different tracking systems. That's it. It's
right, but I guess
same
when
SKU.
people ask, is it labeled medical? It's like, I guess, yeah, because that's how I purchased it.
I mean, what's labeled
well,
medical anymore?
To the purchaser, the answer is yes, like you said, and it's all done through a tracking system that once it's brought into the dispensary, because at the cultivation level, cannabis is not grown for medicinal or recreational purposes. Cannabis is grown as a sellable product, as their product, and then the dispensaries bring it in and then separate it to either side, and that's how they classify the two.
Satisfied Mind gave me. Oh, what he. Speaking of which, sorry, read that comment.
Woodcraft doesn't have the medical cultivation license, so who's at fault? Clearly the dispo. But
no. I'm saying they could benefit from this.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying they could maybe wiggle a. I don't know.
It does seem like
questions.
a workaround.
It seems like you could say, because there's a specific part in that document that says if you sell cannabis through a state medical cannabis system, and I know that their licenses adult use and all that stuff. I'm just saying, like, they can argue they could legally say I sold cannabis through the medical system because they did. They sold it
100%
to a dual license dispensary. I know it's a weird argument, but it's there.
No, it's a good argument.
And people are asking that question. I think they actually talked about it in the Dales report.
Well, so, and I think that what that would benefit in that 3-layer of license purchase from the Fed is somebody who can claim, like you're saying, let's say like it doesn't Blam Craft Grow, they are selling through a medical distribution. So can they take and get a Schedule 3 license from the federal government, from the DEA, as a manufacturer of medical product? But then what does that benefit them? Because here's the answer: because they don't get tax breaks based off of it. I don't think it would benefit them to sell their product to a Walgreens or something. If they got it approved by the DEA to begin with, you would still have to go through an approval process to get your product approved by the DEA. Or it could be tested in a lab setting, I think.
Yeah. Something that is completely unrelated to rescheduling that Satisfied Mind sent me a document about today that I got to dig into more, but I looked into other states and everything. And because the state, and I'll have to find an article. I know, Aaron, you sent me a podcast that I did, but I swear I wrote an article about it too, where the state was talking about metric QR codes that are going to be on products. And the way they spoke about it, it made it sound like all of them would be, and it would be part of the metric transition. But when I look at a lot of documents from different states, and I think even the one that they sent me from Illinois, Satisfied Mind, it makes it sound like it's optional. Which, it's weird because the state law, from what I understand, and like Chicago sometimes reporting, like it does say that if a person requests a COA, you're supposed to provide it, which it doesn't say you have to provide it via QR code.
No, and they do. You have to send an email into the company direct and proper, and that's been a thing for a long time too. You've been able from day one since 2015 to send in a request to the cultivation for a COA or the lab results.
And supposedly they are required to actually give those to you. Although I have seen reports, even so far as this week, on the Eltree subreddit about Cresco or somebody else not sending out the COAs in time or something like that. But I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a widespread thing for the most part. But I do wonder, like, with the new metric switch over and the QR codes, like why they wouldn't make that, a required participatory thing.
Well, and I swear they talked about a patient portal that would have purchase history on it too. So
that was in the meeting that you and I attended, where they gave the different Illinois departments gave their.
That's what it was.
Yep.
And
that's exactly what it was.
So that makes me think that would be another avenue in which you might be able to get because they talked about it being like linked with metric, and they even talked about a product portal. Like I remember taking notes about this. Maybe I got to go back and revisit something if I didn't publish, but
I I would
Yeah.
I would take John's word for it. John works in a dispo. If he's saying, yeah, all products will have QR codes, not barcodes, from what I hear, if he's hearing it, it's through the grapevine. There is probably a chance that QR codes are a thing in the reality.
Remember
or in the future.
You remember our friend from Token Tuesdays who had the QR code company?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, good for him. Was it something Vets for Veterans or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. This is a good question. I like this one. Genetic Memory Farms. Can I purchase up to my medical limit from a dual-use dispo and then purchase my rec limit at the same time?
No.
No? You shouldn't. Or,
so the thing is,
technically you shouldn't be able to.
Yes and no. Yes, because you can take your product outside, put it in your car, come back into a rec dispensary and purchase again. The problem with that is you are illegally in possession of because you have an overage on your allotment. That's the only thing. But this is the difference is like, it's not, and it's the same thing in Michigan. It's not the dispensary's duty to prevent you from over purchasing. It is your duty to not over carry. And that's like a big distinction between it. And it's not that a dispo is not going to let you walk in and buy 4 ounces of cannabis in a single purchase because, and exactly like what John's saying here, but I won't sell it to you. You just won't. They're not going to sell it to you because they don't want to have their licenses stripped from them.
Right.
But if you walk into a dispo and you purchase cannabis from somebody at a register and you walk out of the store and put your cannabis in your car, assume you max your limit out in every category. Flower, you get 30. Concentrate, you get 5 grams. Edibles, you get 500 milligrams. So you max your entire thing. You walk back into the store, walk to a new bud tender who wasn't the person who just took care of you. It is not the person who just took care of you's duty to tell them that you can't purchase. And it's not the person who is selling the cannabis to know what they just purchased because your information is not tracked like that. There's no database of Blam fill-in came in and purchased this amount. So it's almost a thing where like, unless you directly are the same person who kept selling them product, then the state might have a case against you as like you knew and you kept selling to them. But this is how Michigan gets away with that, is because it's not on Michigan for selling it to you. They're selling it to you at the limit of which they can sell to you. It is you who is in now possession of more than you are allowed to carry. And it's on you. It's on the consumer. And I think that stands true in all of the cannabis markets.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? You guys think should we take some callers, see if anybody got any questions, wants to come on and talk to us about rescheduling?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought it might be a good time as well.
Take some callers.
Yeah, I'm going to in my chat room, I'm going to pin the message, and then I think I'm in Cole's chat right now. I'm going to drop the message, drop the stream, and then I think Dave's as well. If anybody wants to come on and talk to 3 Dope Dudes, talk about rescheduling, please do. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You don't even have to turn your camera on. You can just be audio, as our friend Cole says over on thecolememo.com.
Sad boy, Michigan still does not track your purchases. There is a system that the state tried to make so that you could report people who are over purchasing. But it's still not like I'm using my license. Now they've locked me into some bigger system. Like they still don't track people like that. Not even in Michigan.
Yeah, I would say the closest thing you might get is if you maybe possibly went to the same chain and they had like a connection in their POS, but that would be. But like
that's because you signed up for their loyalty program,
something like that. Yeah,
where they are allowed to track you. at the state level and from dispensary to state, the agreement that they have as license holders, there is you're not even allowed to legally track people's purchases like that. You're not allowed to tie their name to their purchase. So, and it's every program that I know of directly, Michigan, Illinois, every single one of them is the same way in that regard.
Yeah, they do. The law does. It is up to the intention of the end user, really.
That and bingo. As he just said, the regulations mention the wording knowingly purchased. So you yourself went in and knowingly purchased it. It doesn't say knowingly sold. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the flat cameras are really becoming a thing. I think honestly they're gonna start using them to track people going across state lines all the time. And if you think they're not already using them in capital crimes and stuff, you should go watch some YouTube videos.
Definitely make sure you got your paperwork updated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Touche.
Yeah.
Like insurance, your fucking registration. Because, dude, I cannot tell you how many small communities around the state of Illinois that I see where they'll have a flock camera in one side of town and one on the other. And if somebody drives by without a license plate, an easy one, I saw this the other day. They just drove by without a license plate. They probably had it in their backseat and maybe it fell and the camera just couldn't get it. But guess what? They got pulled over to have a conversation about it. I mean, it's like I see that all the time in towns like that. And they definitely like to tout the numbers of how many people they stop with the registration thing and lack of license. That's
because they're subsidized. They get paid to install the cameras, and then they get to use it for enforcement, which is a revenue generator.
Yeah, those flock cameras, they make me upset.
Genetic Memory Farm says, interesting, in Illinois dispensary I worked at, our company system would deny purchases over a daily rec limit. That isn't an individual purchase unless your system was, again, a loyalty program, because literally on the walls of state dispensaries, Illinois state dispensary, you can walk into any dispensary in the state of Illinois, and I promise you there's a sign on the wall. It is a mandated sign that says you are allowed to purchase without using your identity. You have to check in with your identity, but as long as they say that you're 21 or older, you're good to walk in there, and you do not have to be tracked in any capacity. It's literally on the walls of every dispensary in Illinois. Rec or med.
I wish I would have seen that, because I definitely. Then why do I got to show my ID all the time at the?
You have to do it at the front desk to make sure.
No, I'm not talking there. I'm talking like you always got to show it to the because like you know me, I would definitely be like nah, I don't want to give you my ID.
Yeah,
They make me take my shoes off, and they have me put my hands in the air.
Yeah,
dude.
Bend over
my problem is
that
I always get the front touch.
Oh yeah,
damn, I'm trying to go there
almost every single time.
And I always ask, is this required? And they're like, yeah. I mean, it's required. Spin around.
Yeah, you have to give ID at the register.
Like John said, it'll flag you if your ID has been scanned multiple times in your POS tracking system if you are putting somebody's identifiers in there. But you can literally anonymously, and ask John right now, John, can they or can you not write an anonymous sign in and literally put the name Big Ding-a-ling? Maybe your company doesn't want you to.
Do they scan the ID?
Yeah,
No.
like usually when you go
validity?
in, they've got the thing
At the front
security
desk
guard
to prove that
and
your
then I've got to
license
give
is-
John my ID. Next time I'm just going to tell John to fuck off.
Like the barcode on the back of your ID is what I'm asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
At-
time you're
at
just going
the-
to tell John to piss off. And
The
buzz me
second
in.
ID check can be asked for the person who's purchasing. It's like a bartender re-asking for your license after you've been let through at the front door, because it's not the person at the front door's liability. It's the person who sells the cannabis is liability. So if you sell the cannabis, you should protect yourself, but you can literally pick up the ID for validation of 21 or older.
Gentlemen, we've drank 3 50-milligram drinks so far.
Damn,
yeah.
let's go.
Let's
brother.
go. Yeah, actually, my mom said that she bought some of those using your code, and she said that she liked them, but they're really sweet.
Oh, interesting. I wonder which ones which ones did they get?
I don't even know. But yeah, when I saw my mom at the seed swap, she said, "Oh, I had some of those cantrip drinks. And
really?
They were pretty good. Yeah, they're just really, really sweet." She was talking to Dave about them. It was good times.
Yeah.
So, are you flying high call off your cantrip drinks? Cantrip.com /.
Oh, whoa. Oh,
No?
I was gonna say, I got like flagged one time for saying that on YouTube.
Oh.
I don't know if they're being weird about it. So,
Oh, weird.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Maybe
no, we don't want
maybe
that.
me talking over you was good.
Yeah,
sorry
no.
for doing that.
We don't want to get flagged. That's weird.
Yeah, it's bad. Why do they do that?
Did you get a copyright or did
It's
you get
legal
a strike?
for now. Come on.
You got a strike?
Yeah, until November 12th.
Did you get harmful and dangerous content?
They accused me of selling illegal drugs.
Oh, dude.
I don't even sell them.
Did your April Fool's joke get you in trouble, Cole?
No, it wasn't that, surprisingly. Actually, I was very careful with how I worded that on video. Yeah, because I knew it would flag me. Those motherfuckers, they don't know how to take a joke. You know what I'm saying?
I mean...
like, if I said that, like, it's clearly a joke if you click the buy button. But that's the thing. Until you do that.
I mean... Are you saying that people are reactionary and they just want to, take the most opposite, to whatever your take is, just to be a troll? People are trolls?
Yeah, I don't know. My thing is funny. I appreciated the people that reached out, like, with concern, like, truly, like, hey, like, are you actually doing that? Like, are you sure you have, like, lawyers and stuff? Are you ready? Are you prepared for what might come your way? And I was like, I'm not actually doing that. I appreciate you reaching out. But then some people were like upset, like you're gonna like literally do what the other people do and just undercut the business, and it's just like whatever.
I mean,
it's again. I had to explain again. It's a joke. If you click the buy button, it says April Fools. Because today's April.
Yeah, it was on April Fool's. Like what does everybody?
I did
expect?
announce it the day before, technically, but if you click it, that's what I liked. Nah, crap, I can't give away the playbook, but I do an April Fool's joke every year. It's kind of my thing.
Nice. I like that.
It's been my thing. I like it. Brandon,
I love this. Yeah, Brandon Krieger. I was excited you were in the industry and tried to support
he's
you
actually
when
he's one of the people that actually reached out with like actual concern, like out of good care. Like, hey, you actually getting into this?
Oh no, I clicked it and I thought it was hilarious. You should have just told everybody, yeah, of course I've got the cannabis industry lawyer.
Yeah, right.
I got Tom Howard, best cannabis lawyer out there.
No, he doesn't do hemp clients, but yeah.
No,
I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying. I mean, for the April Fool's joke, it would have been perfect.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
He wouldn't have liked that though, because somebody else did that, and he's talked about it on his show. If you look up, I think it was called "Our President's Name Weed." I don't know if it's still operating or not, but literally on the front page it said this is our lawyer explaining how our products are legal, and we probably shouldn't put it on screen or anything because again,
no, I'm not going to.
But it's a video of Tom, and Tom has expressed how upset he is about that, which yeah, because he says
I don't want to upset Tom. I already think the guy doesn't like me anyway, so.
Oh, I mean, yeah, because they're using his video like totally out of context.
Oh yeah, no, that's not cool.
If people aren't following along.
No, and you shouldn't misrepresent what people say anyway. Yeah, and I don't. He probably doesn't even know who I am, but I just I've interacted with him online before, and Tom is Tom, and I am me, and
Yeah,
I don't have any
up.
ill will towards him or anything.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying, like,
it's okay. I had to explain it because
No, it makes
it's something
sense.
he's talked about publicly on the show, and also I had to be like, I can't do that joke because like that would be it'd almost be like a little bit too close to home probably.
You'd have to like ask him, but I guess as a real
Yeah, you cool
attorney,
with
then you have to
regulation?
be cool with,
Right.
like
Kind of make it fun.
Yeah, you are, or you would have to actually represent somebody for somebody just, you can't just be like, Johnny Cochran's my lawyer, and you're like some,
It's why I do it because look, I guess that's a good it's why I do it because it's fun and like most of the time I do my best to like employ I just try my best to share like the information and then also my take on it, and I try to clearly delineate those two things. Like here's how you can view the information I'm reading right now, and also here's how I feel about it. And so I don't remember what the fuck even provoked me to say that. Yeah, the joke is nice because like to do jokes every once in a while. It's just to provide some like levity and to remind people that like I am not a professional. Like I just smoke weed like you guys do. And you should call in, by the way. I guess we're about to close out. I actually do have to run soon. Yeah, I'm just like you all, and I'm just trying to share info because I find all this stuff so fascinating. Just like that thing I mentioned from Satisfied Mind today. I've been like waiting for it because I don't, I hadn't seen the QR codes out in the wild. And so I was just like, when is this? And so he sent me a notice again. I got to read some more. But it's also interesting to me. So that's why I share it all with the people. And I'm preaching to the choir with you too, because that's why you guys do it too.
Yeah.
I know you guys have passion on the subject and just find all this stuff just super interesting.
It is super interesting, and that's a really good point. It's genetic memory farms. I think Tom Howard is good people. It's just that he's a lawyer, so a 100%. I think that's probably a fair point to say about lawyers in general. Most people are not fond of them, and I do think Tom Howard is good people. That's awesome.
You see that fucking John just said about half our products have QR now.
That's awesome.
Okay, here's my question, because the thing it shows in the documentation, John, is I should pull it up because Satisfied Mind sent it to me. It shows like a screenshot of what it would look like on a smartphone to pull up a metric COA. It's like an example, but it's kind of cool to see like their little graphic rendering of what it's supposed to look like. I'll pull that up and share my screen here in just a moment. But John, I'm curious while I pull it up if you've ever scanned it and what it do.
Hey, maybe that could be a my but John. Maybe you could highlight how the new QR codes work, John. That would be actually really cool. I would appreciate that.
So I don't know if this is the document.
Peace outside, boy, Bools.
So here's like how the QR code, I guess, would look.
Okay.
And you got it right there.
Does that actually work? Can you
Hold
on, leave it right there. I'll scan it.
Oh, sorry. Here.
No, you're all right.
He said they suck.
Invalid SSL certificate.
Yeah, I got this.
Yeah, get your Cloudflare together.
Well,
Jeez,
it does say it's a demo, so let's see. So if you scan it, here's what it's supposed to look like. So you can see the cultivar, the ID, the facility, the license number, and I don't know if this is how Illinois is going to work. This is Illinois documentation.
Can you scroll down a little? Oh, okay. All right, that fucking thing says 10% pining.
Well, is it THCA pining or? Because the THCA pining and the regular pining.
This is just an example.
I'm
gonna let it go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just an example, but it looks like you could click a button here to view the lab report. Like this is maybe like a preview of some of the info.
Nice.
You can like view the actual lab report. I don't know if there's more in here. That's the end of the document, but it says this is the consumer view of the retail ID QR code scan. That's super cool, but I don't know again if this is I don't know if this is required That's kind of the reason I bring it up.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean.
Or just an option. Does it cost more to add this?
No, because you're just sending it through
Of
the
course
same
it's going to
printer. It's
cost.
just
Well, you're going to have to, I mean, they're going to, yeah, it's going to cost more because they're going to have to hire somebody to aggregate all this data and submit it to the state for every single product that they put out.
no. They're just going to tie it into metric. It's just going to be an upload button. They're going to take the lab report back from ACT or LK or whatever lab they're pulling it from.
John,
They're gonna
that's
upload
different.
and scan it.
Barcodes are actually going away and they're going to QR codes everywhere, not just in dispensaries, like gas stations, grocery stores.
Oh, he's
like,
talking about
Yeah.
QRs for checking it out.
Yeah,
and
no,
maybe not. for
Satisfied
lab.
Mind answered our question. I'm pretty sure it's covered somewhere in here. Here it is. His thing is that he just said is right there.
mhm.
A reminder that new optional
Yeah.
product labeling functionality
Okay.
is available.
In the
there's
metric
answer
system.
right at the top. It was right there the whole time. But
But
it was
I
cool to go
think-
through that exercise, right, and show all that.
Yeah, but I think you're right though. Like, I'm pretty sure that at least on the medical side, that you're allowed to ask for lab results every time.
Sure.
Sure. Right. Right.
But like a
It's just not that it's required to have a QR code, I think is the point.
no, yeah.
I mean, ideally, we should have QR codes on each product, linking it to the COA. But first, the metric has to be taken over by the government so that they can regulate it and make everybody do that. Which is what's happening now, right? And now we're seeing rescheduling.
Hey, listen, I'm with some cat on the internet. I want a video clip of the dudes testing the product. I would like to see the testing process go on so that we know exactly what is being tested, how they're testing it, and
Oh
what
yeah, like a
product they are
YouTube,
testing.
like a YouTube playlist of different reviews, like it's CNET or something.
Well, dude, we've got 60 cameras in a dispensary. All right, they're constantly watching you. You mean to tell me that
Do we
you
have as
couldn't
many
make a couple-
cameras in a cultivation facility connected to the state, or is it only
Oh
connected
yeah,
to security?
same shit. Every
Okay.
direction.
All right.
Yeah, cultivation and distribution. Hell, they put GPS trackers on the trucks.
Well, I mean, there's. What do you think metric tags are going to be? I mean, they have metric from seed to product that go on the plant. Eventually, with transportation, they'll probably have RFID and trackers in them as well.
It's from seed to shining seed.
Jeez,
Stupid.
Louise.
Oh man.
From seed to shining seed. Yeah, yeah, of course it doesn't work. And each tag is extra money that you now have to pay for every plant. And guess who makes that? Right? That's how it works. Everybody gets paid, especially the government.
Yeah.
You're goddamn right.
You're goddamn right. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Cowboy Cole tonight, but Cole, I appreciate you coming on. I know you got to get out of here pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But hell yeah,
Not
thanks
only
for coming on, dude.
logistically, but the fact that I drank three of these drinks, I'm okay. I just have to go to the bathroom. You know, I drank three, what is it, 12-ounce beverages or something?
Man,
Yeah.
Rogan would make fun of you. It's only been an hour and 43 minutes, and you already got to pee.
So we can
I mean,
bring
I
you
could,
off the stage and bring you back on the stage. You could have left.
no, like
an
I said,
hour.
I have to logistically leave and just
Yeah.
temporarily leave. But
Yeah.
Satisfied Mind said he's sorry he couldn't call in. Bad night for it. Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that, hopefully.
I like that my nickname has become Coke.
Yeah,
too,
I
which
saw
is
that
not-
earlier.
It's that's for sure. That's come under my life.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But yeah, thank you again, Cole from the Cole Memo. Again, like I said earlier at the start of the show, two of my smartest cannabis friends. Cole, who, as we like to say, is just our shining example, the gold standard of in Illinois for cannabis reporting. Not that there's a lot of us, but by default, Cole, you're the gold standard. So I appreciate you. Don't worry, I'm not putting you too far on the pedestal.
Thank you. No, thank you for the kind comments, and I appreciate you guys inviting me on for this, because who knows what it's going to look like, and I just hope. I think I said this last time we did a podcast on this subject. Who knows what it's going to look like? I think I maybe even said it in this one too. I'm here for it. I've got my popcorn. I'm here for it. If they think they're going to stop me from growing, like, bro, if they think they're going to stop me and my friends that have been growing for all these years, or all, all the people, like, that's what's hilarious about this. I will say that in a lot of these different shows, they're talking about, like, oh, as soon as the hemp ban comes in, like, sales at dispensaries are going to increase. It's like, oh, you think so? You think it's that easy? That on November 13th, everybody's gonna be like, well, fuck, I gotta go to the dispensary.
Who the fuck is gonna go enforce what?
That's right.
Who the fuck knows what they're looking at to begin with, and how the hell are they gonna test it? There's a lot of factors in that, but also too, in the same way, just like we were talking about with this whole rescheduling thing, the state's already doing what the state's doing. It's been federally illegal to sell cannabis, and there's 40 states that do it.
Mm-hmm. I got plenty of film canisters and coin envelopes, and it's ready. We can go back to the old days,
Yeah. Well, I need to get a newspaper again. It's been a while since I've had a little bag in the corner of a newspaper. And go
ahead. Continue your thought. Sorry.
Yeah, they just had to use it twice. So you got to put in both sides. You got to rip the corner off. I know y'all have gotten a bag out of a ripped off newspaper bag before.
For sure. Tinfoil.
Yeah. The cigarettes. The little plastic on the cigarettes. Many of those. I used to be a cigarette smoker.
This dude, that one time he didn't have bags, so he had like a garbage bag, and he started with the corner, but then just kept ripping out little plastic pieces and just tore up this huge ass garbage bag and bagged up little baggies of weed. Yeah,
wow.
I've seen a lot of different things.
It's pure.
Sometimes just handed right to your hand.
And then you got a sweaty couple of nugs because you ain't got nothing in your car either. So
I will say that's my favorite, just to hand somebody nugs. Just be like, give me your hands, and just let it go. And then they're just like, what do I do? And you're like, I don't know. You should find something to put that in.
Figure it out.
Yeah. many cig pack cellophanes
though. Before we go, Cole, tell everybody where to find you.
Oh, it's colememo.com. And I feel like before we go, we should cheers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's have a little.
Everybody that's listening.
Yeah, and everybody that's listening, let's toke break.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, smash that like button on everybody's channel. Make sure to go to Peace, Love, and Cope and the Cole Memo and subscribe to them. Please and thank you. My smartest cannabis friends.
Yep.
All right, friends.
Barely green.
Oh, gosh.
Cheers to all of you. Appreciate the hell out of you.
Skunk Ape.
Hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah. Are we smoking technically on Schedule 3 or Schedule 1 right now?
Mine is...
This shit is straight Schedule 1, bro. You don't want to... It's going to be funny.
Yeah, this is Schedule 1.
It'll be funny.
Drummer cheers.
Whoa, drum.
My prediction, I'm just putting my tinfoil hat on. My prediction. You know how all cannabis operators, there used to be just a binary distinction, which was medical and adult use, otherwise marijuana, and then hemp.
Dude.
Now there's going to be Schedule 3 marijuana, Schedule 1 marijuana and hemp. And Schedule 3 marijuana is going to be like, bro, we grow medical cannabis. We're licensed by the FDA. These motherfuckers are like, they grow dirty product. They need to be
Yes.
shut down.
Yes.
It's Schedule 1.
Yes.
Yeah. This is tinfoil hat, Cole.
But my favorite thing too is that there will be Schedule 1 recreational, Schedule 1 medical, and Schedule 3 medical. You got 3 classifications now, because if you don't get that Schedule 3 license like I'm talking about, you still could be Schedule 1 medical.
That's right. It would be that dirty, shout out to the Dank Informer. He'll be
Yeah, you'd be selling tainted marijuana.
tainted Schedule 1 and Schedule 3 marijuanas.
Yeah.
Before we go, drop a number in the chat. Tell us, are you feeling more hopeful, more skeptical, more confused, or same as before? 1, 2, 3, or 4. John Voight says like dental weed. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers to all my friends smoking this Schedule 1 cannabis.
Cole says 3. I was gonna do it too, but I didn't want to be the one.
I was also gonna do 3.
I'm just more confused.
I am also more confused.
Like what? I don't know.
Well, it's because
you
you had 3 drinks and at least 3 bowls.
Yeah, I'm dazed and confused.
Dazed and confused.
No,
Donuts.
I'm fully for it. I am hopeful. I'm more hopeful than I was before, but it's more hopeful that the Schedule 3 federal reclassification takes place and we kind of start to, because all this did was make shit more confusing.
Right.
If we Schedule 3, I don't know that it can be more confusing from where it is now. If we go at a full blanket federal level Schedule 3 acceptance, I think we all can understand a little bit better. I think, hopefully. So I'm hopeful.
Hell yeah! Cheers to that. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. I'm so excited that it's summer. So I am hopeful.
Yeah, summer's
I'm just confused
awesome.
about rescheduling.
Yeah.
Let's reschedule rescheduling. I don't want to deal with it right now.
I like your
I
style.
mean, I think we've rescheduled rescheduling enough now. It's been like 2
We need to
administrations.
schedule descheduling.
Well,
shoot!
We should. You know what? That's going to be a new schedule. The deschedule.
Fuck yeah!
I fucking love it. Cole, you're the man.
Well, cheers, gentlemen. Tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow's
Friday.
Friday.
Weekend and a great summer. A great year.
And for those of you in Cole's chat, Dave's going to be sticking around for his normal Thursday stream, so you can join that at Peace, Love, and Cope as well.
That's super dope.
Hell yeah.
Well, hell yeah. All right. And I guess that'll be streaming on my channel too. So if any of my viewers...
I mean, I think you can...
No, I'm cool with it.
Okay, cool.
I mean, if you're cool with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. If any of my viewers roll in, just tell them I said hi, I guess.
Yeah, I'll hang out for a little bit longer.
Tell them I'm high.
and
Tell
just
them I'm
jam.
high.
Yeah,
That
perfect.
I said hi.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
We look like twins right now.
Yeah,
You know
no.
what? I could tuck the beard maybe.
We totally planned this.
Yeah.
What?
I can't, yeah.
It's getting there.
It's going to take some time.
I agree. Be careful out there, my friends.
All right, Cole.
Listen, Angelo, you're 100% correct.
All right. You guys take care. Thank you
Cool.
again. For
Love
the
you, buddy.
invite.
Thank
You're
you,
a
sir.
hero, bro.
Yep. Cheers.
Awesome.
I love that kid.
Yeah, he's the man. Schedule the deschedule. I love that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I love his perspective on everything. And I think this is the whole thing too, is because we look at it from the scope of what we've been through individually. And I look at it through the scope of the compliance that I had to operate within based off of the SOPs, more the administrative code of the state, right? I've read through the administrative code of the state. I know exactly what's required to be a medical dispensary versus a rec dispensary. And when I read through this document here, I was like, there's so many questions I have as far as how operationally this is going to go. You know what I mean? Like, there's standards that each dispensary or each state, but each dispensary in each state is expected to uphold based off of, again, the state administrative code and then the SOPs put forward by the dispensary group. And when I read through this, the conflict that's going to make things happen, depending on how the shift goes, it could make it very confusing to operate a dispensary, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I think that the way that they have to go is in the direction of, we're not going to break the systems that are already in place. And when I say that, it's like, that's why I take the stance on it the way that I do. And I know that Cole takes it more from, and he's talked to some badasses, dude. I mean, he's talked to Boris Jordan directly. He's talked to state representatives about this thing. He has a perspective on it that is very neutral and very understood, right? He sees it from a lot of different directions. I'm very narrow in my approach. Well, kind of. I'm very Illinois based, and I'm very like, I know the codes and laws here, so I can operate that. But no, I love sharing ideas back and forth with him. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the chat chiming in, everybody who was putting in their perspectives on things too. And it's kind of polarizing in that regard. Like, we all have something that we want to benefit us a little bit better by. And I hope that all of it comes true, you know? So yeah. Aaron, don't be shy. You can stick on here as long as you want to.
No, I was actually just gonna take off and go to the bathroom for just a second.
Oh yeah, and then
just let you go. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
I just
come
didn't
back.
want to say anything. I will come back. And then anybody else, like call into the Peace, Love, and Cope show.
Oh yeah, if anybody else would like to talk about topic at hand, I'm more than happy to.
And you can join while I'm gone because Dave's got admin powers.
I do. Look at me go. I'll real quick, because y'all know that I like to do it. I need to shout out everybody that I'm seeing. John Voight, Barely Green, Drummer, Brandon Krieger, Gawani, Satisfied Minds, Salsa Courier, Alyssa and Angelo, Gare Bear, Dudley Dawson, Chi-Town Hi-Fi, Sean Whitney, Skunk Ape Glass Works, Some Cat on the Internet. All of you had perspectives on this thing. And if I'm missing anybody that's been in here, I'm scrolling up as fast as I can. I cheated on one of these things, but Chi-Town Hi-Fi, I know he's around here. I don't know if I said him. All of the perspective matters, right? And this is what I think the big thing is. Like, there are truths and there are, I'm not going to go off the deep end with it, but I talk about it a lot. Like, there's truths and there's facts, and each line of that document is a fact. It's written as the truth of what it's not a truth. It's their facts. But the truth is, how are you going to interact with it? And how is that being interpreted? Interpretation is law altogether. Law only means the interpretation of, and a lot of time law is based off of other people's interaction with the law and then the interpretation on how that played out. And that's so, like, did it get much better for any of us average consumers or any of us average growers, people who have medical licenses? I don't know that it did. I do believe wholeheartedly that for medical patients, for people who are trying to use this medicinally, to have a more mathematical proven science behind this thing is going to be great. If we can get the different products into bigger studies and into more laboratories' hands so that we can literally talk about direct interaction. And I hate the idea of coming up with a dosing situation, not because I don't think it's achievable. It's that when they do that, they're going to lean towards the safe side of things and not really allow for the range of what consumption is possible in cannabis without hurting somebody, right? So, I just think that the floor and the ceiling of what you can consume is kind of more individual than it is uh, easy to box in. Now, the interpretations of these things, it should be easier to box in, but it's the misinterpretation and the incongruencies. It's what is the definition of hemp, right? Like that, unless they define it clearly, and they've tried to, but in the way that they don't understand how people interact with hemp. So how the hell do you make a law for it or make it interpretable for everybody across all platforms? And I don't think that that's possible. So, um, I'm hopeful for what's coming for medical patients in the way that we can see different cannabinoids interacting on different systems more directly, especially mapping. We have the endocannabinoid system mapped, but the interaction within the endocannabinoid system is not as fully mapped. There is plenty of direct interaction, and like we have to take a lot of our information from Israel when it comes to this, where they are the people who are directly stimulating parts of the endocannabinoid system with different cannabinoids, terpenoids, flavonoids, and so on. Will dispensaries have to separate by medical again? Satisfied Mind, it's a great question. I don't, but that's an interpretation of this thing that like we could go back and forth on it. I don't think so. But this is why I'm saying I think that the way that we achieve this and the way that it's stated in there is that you will buy into it. And if you buy into it and you say, yes, we want the Schedule 3 classification, now do you separate the two businesses? Do they have to be out from under the same roof? And I would say, theoretically, it sounds like they could make that interpretation of it. But then the other interpretation of it is, will people still need to be medicinally licensed because a doctor can now recommend and prescribe even medically approved Schedule 3 substances? So if a doctor can directly prescribe it to me, then he can just write me a script for it, and then I can go down to the dispensary and pick it up because that's my medicine. So there's, like I said, I mean, there's so many, let's see how it kind of ebbs and flows its way through. But yeah, theoretically, could it be a separation? It could easily be. Yeah. Oh, Brandon Krieger, he says 3 likes on the live. You can drop them all over the place. I appreciate y'all. There are a lot of ways to apportion the cost of running a dispensary: product sales, square footage, number of cashiers. The separation doesn't have to be visible to the consumer. Right, but in what they were talking, because recreational cannabis still is a Schedule 1, and I can pull the document back up too. I have it up somewhere. There it is. And it would take me a moment to scroll through and figure it out. But as Cole was showing before, if you're selling a Schedule 1 drug, you can't sell a Schedule 3 drug next to it. Like, that's literally in the interpretation of what they just said. So theoretically, could you build a wall in between the two places and call them separate entities now, and maybe get, I don't know how that works at the city level, because would you have to have 2 different addresses? Now maybe you could do Unit A and Unit B, which again, I believe that has to go to building approval. I don't think the approvals of the city and whatever. So I don't know. Could they do that? It's possible. Will insurance companies actually cover anything from a dispo, or will that have to be for pharmacy? So the groundwork is laid for insurance companies to possibly cover CBD in the future. I don't know that it immediately does today. Um, some cat on the internet. I've gone into two separate conversations here, so I might have lost track. But yeah, I don't know what I said to trigger your thoughts there. I was going into the insurance thing. But that's literally what John's saying there to your question, Satisfied Mind. I know people from day one in the medical cannabis market in Illinois who were submitting receipts from their dispensary purchases to get write-offs or breaks on their insurance costs and coverage. So I again, how it's legal, how it's not legal, if you got into the wrong interpretation, if the wrong person fucking caught wind of it, could it all boil up and whatever? But until they are asked about it or caught or whatever, why wouldn't you just keep doing it? To their understanding, what they are submitting their receipts for to their insurance company for reimbursement for medical or for medicine reimbursement, because people get allotments on purchases of medicine. So when you submit your receipts, they just kick you a check. And I know people who have gotten healthy checks through the year and they've been submitting their cannabis stuff. So their cannabis company is allowing it. Maybe you change from the one cannabis company to the other one. Is it an oversight of the insurance company? Is it a oversight by the person submitting it? Do they know that they're not allowed to submit? So there's a lot of question and a lot of interpretation behind all of, even where what you've seen works in your instance, well, then it works. It works there. Nobody can tell you that you're wrong. But I've literally seen people get multiple thousands of dollars back for submitting cannabis receipts. So, you know, this has been going on for a while, at least against insurance, you know. But this is, I love this as far as the insurance program. They're typing a program for CBD that is income limited. Correct. Yes. That is something where, and I think that they said that you had to be Medicare, Medicaid recipient, something of that nature. And so it is for low income. And I think that like his big push, Trump's big push when he was talking about things was the veterans, right? And veterans having access to medication at a reasonable cost. So welcome back. Your dreams are your ticket out.
What's up? I'm back.
I saw your mic button go off finally. I was like, he's here.
Oh yeah. Well, if you look, you should be able to see me down at the bottom too.
I do.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. It looks like there were some good comments here.
Yeah.
Will dispensaries have to separate by medical again?
We talked about that.
Yeah.
We got a little, yeah. There's, and this is the whole thing. I think that's why Cole and I both at that last poll we said we're more confused, is because there are so many questions that got brought up and the unclarity and it's like one group is saying one thing and the other group is saying the other. You know, like there is not a direct clearness of the law here.
Well, I mean, That's not very surprising either. I mean, they want to get it out and get the headlines, correct?
Yeah. But I think like what my whole point is just that there is a regulatory fracture, dude, where you made it even more confusing, as if the classification between recreational and medical wasn't a confusion enough. Then we added hemp to the story line, and now people are even more confused.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we just added Schedule 3 to the storyline, but we didn't take away any of the other ones. In fact, in introducing the newest storyline, the Schedule 3, we talked about how the hemp thing is still unfigured the fuck out, and how they're going to continue to allow medical and adult use. So there's now
And there's only two
4
states. There's only 2 states that have no accepted use period. Correct?
3, maybe?
I think there's 2.
Is it Idaho and
Yeah, it's Idaho and
North Carolina, South Carolina? I think.
no, they have medical.
I don't think they do.
North Carolina, I'm pretty sure. Didn't we just talk about how they were starting medical?
They might be starting. I don't think that it's gone through. I don't think they've got it signed in yet. I think that it's hit the ballots and shit. But I don't know that. I don't know. You might know better than I. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I brought up the map last week on stream of what states are.
I mean, here's a Rolling Stone article. Here, let me do this real quick.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that, but Schedule 3, we don't even know what that means yet. We know what it means, but how does it take place for these dispensaries? Was it a light switch effect, or do you have to get a license? Because if you go through what that thing says, it literally says you have to get your $3,000 license. Let me see if I can. And I've got this thing pulled up too. I'm going to share.
Oh, I looked up one, but then it was like from 2023, and I was like, oh, well, that sucks.
I mean, we could just pull this up from this right here. Share screen, maybe?
I think it's Idaho and South Carolina. Kansas, maybe? I thought there was only 2 states who had no accepted. There was no medical, no rec.
It could be. I'm going to pull this up here for 1 second.
Sure, go for it.
And I'm going to scroll down. This is literally, to me, this is the meat and potatoes of confusion. And all right. The acting attorney general further notes that a consequence of this rule, state licenses will no longer be subject to the deduction disallowance imposed by Section 280E of the Internal Revenue Code, which applies only to businesses engaging in trafficking in controlled substances in a Schedule 1 or 2. Nothing in this rule constitutes a determination regarding federal tax liability. So the federal tax liability, there's nothing in this rule constitute a determination. So we don't even know what Schedule 1 or 3 or the implications of and qualifying state licenses should consult with tax counsel regarding the ability of Section 280E. So they're still saying consult a thing, but here,
right.
Requirements for handling FDA approved drug products containing marijuana. So to get the FDA approval, to get the approval of this Schedule 3 process, and maybe again, this is just according to the FDA, and the other one is okay under the DEA, you're Schedule 3, but now under the FDA, well, okay, that's perfectly fine. What does an FDA approval look like? Well, you have to go through. Am I on page 18? Okay, get down here. Each application for registration, other than those employed by the state, whatever. So you have to go through an application process to get an approval to be FDA compliant to handle. You see what I'm saying? Like there's confusion there that to me doesn't make all of the
Have you put that into what do you say you use?
Perplexity.
Perplexity?
Yeah.
And ask it what it thinks about that?
Yeah.
And what did it
like
say?
I said, it says, well, and so the thing is, I'm asking questions to it, like,
Sure.
whatever, like, I'm inquisitive. And it's a, oh, well, you're right. Oh, well, you're right. But that's just a fault of the AI, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm like, okay, but so immediately it knows that it has to shift conversation. But its whole point was that I bring up a valid point of it does look like you will have to get you'll at least have to go through an application process.
Like each state, each dispensary?
To get
each license holder?
So here we go. Requirements for handling FDA-approved drug products containing marijuana. So if you want an FDA approval...
So how do you FDA approve flower?
I don't know that you can.
Yeah, like you could, because it would have to be batch by batch, right?
Yeah.
So you could, I guess the closest you could say is it has accepted use by the FDA, but it's not FDA approved.
That's
I mean, like, how close are we gonna get? Thank you, I appreciate that.
That's no, I mean, we're spot on. That's my question exact. And some cat, I haven't once said anything. A Schedule 3 dispensary is still only a medical dispensary. That's my point exactly. But only a medical dispensary is tied to a Schedule 1 selling dispensary. So you're only getting tax breaks on the medical side on Schedule 3, but the light switch, I guess, that I'm asking about, and it might be when I'm reading this a little bit more clear, and we've talked about it all night, it might have under the DEA become a Schedule 3 substance so that you can claim it against your 280E or whatever, okay? But you're not approved as a FDA or a Schedule 3 process unless you get the license for it. So, like, I guess maybe there is a separation and a distinction that I'm missing between the DEA and FDA.
Is there legal protections now for a product that's FDA approved and a product that's not FDA approved? If it's an FDA approved product and it is moldy flower.
But here we go. Preliminarily, it should be noted that any form of marijuana other than in an FDA-approved drug product or marijuana subject to a state... Okay, so marijuana license remains a Schedule 1. So they're saying that a state's medical process gives them... They're good.
Correct.
However, for those who handle marijuana exclusively in the form of an FDA-approved drug product, the following is a summary of the Schedule 3 regulatory requirements that will apply upon the effective date of this final order. So you can't get your products FDA approved. So I guess it's fine then. I guess I'm a little bit more worked up than what I just needed a moment to read this. And I guess I could... but see, this is it. That is, persons and entities wishing to distribute or dispense, including prescribe marijuana in an FDA-approved product, must first obtain a DEA registration application to Schedule 3 controlled substances. I mean, it literally says it right there.
Yeah, it does.
And the registration, any person who handles, manufactures, distributed, FDA-approved drug production containing marijuana must be registered with DEA to conduct such activities. So literally right here, you have to obtain a DEA registration applicable to Schedule 3 controlled substances.
Well, I mean, leave it to the government to, stay involved.
Must register with the DEA as practitioners under this thing. Registration under the provision does not allow the practitioner to possess or dispense, including, prescribe, Schedule 1 controlled substances, including marijuana, that are in a form other than an FDA-approved drug product or marijuana subject to the state medical marijuana license. See, they even contradict themselves a little bit from statement. In one fucking statement, there is a contradiction that, like, I'm not a lawyer enough to be able to interpret it. Because then it comes to this part here where it says each application for registration. Okay, here we go. Each application for registration.
Mm-hmm.
DEA registration applicable to Schedule 3 controlled substances. Must first obtain a DEA registration. Well, the DEA registration is this right here. Each application for registration. So you have to federally register, is what I'm reading. And if I'm wrong in this interpretation of what I'm seeing, it'd be cool to hear. But am I right?
Possibly. I also just found this thing about the tax stuff that the feds announced marijuana industry tax guidance is coming as rescheduling takes effect. If I could, let me share this screen here real quick. Thank you. This is from our friends over at Marijuana Moment.
What's up, Gare Bear? Stankum Danks. What's up, my friend?
U.S. Department of Treasury and IRS said they expect DOJ's action to have significant positive tax consequences for businesses in the medical marijuana industry, and Treasury and the IRS plan to issue guidance to address the principal federal tax issues stemming from the move. Rescheduling won't federally legalize cannabis, but it will benefit state licensed marijuana businesses by allowing them to take federal tax deductions they're currently barred from an IRS code known as 280E that doesn't apply to Schedule 3 substances. Quote, accordingly, rescheduling generally removes Section 280E as a bar to claiming deductions and credits for businesses that, as a result of the federal order, no longer traffic in Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substances under the CSA, the new Treasury and IRS announcement says. Because of the way rescheduling action is being rolled out in phases, state licensed marijuana companies that serve both the medical and rec markets may only be able to immediately attain tax relief for parts of their businesses.
Right, that's what I was saying at the beginning
Sure.
too, and it fucks all of the any rec dispensary owner. This has nothing to do with you. You're
Sure.
like, this sucks. But this is what I think we were talking about earlier too. This should give incentive to people like GTI and those players who opposed everybody
Sure.
being considered a medical license because getting a medical license on their side, because they would get tax relief at every one of their dispensaries instead of 2 or 3 of them. So
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Manufacturers,
yeah. And that's literally what
you did point that out earlier, Dave.
This is what I've been saying, and this is where right before that it says pay a registration fee. Right before it says each applicant for registration, other than those employed by the state or federal governments, must pay a registration fee. So
must.
That's my whole point. Like, are they Schedule 3, or do they need to pay the thing? And most companies will pay the $3,000 or the $888 or whatever the dumbass arbitrary numbers are that they're throwing out there. They're going to pay it because they're going to be able to write it off as a tax thing. But if that's the case, how far do they want to push it? Because now does every cultivation center have to designate between what their medical product and what their recreational product is? And then, like I was telling you before, it's currently only to the dispensary to put it on one side of the house or the other. Either it's medical or rec. And I think you could even mingle. You could back in the day, or you were allowed to get transfers from the state, at least, where you could transfer it from one side to the other. And you might have only been able to do it at the end of the night, and whatever. There was like some rules and regulations to it, but yeah.
Satisfying mind, we hope so.
What's that? We're scheduling force the state to offer more medical cultivation and or dispensaries. It would not force it. That's the whole point in this too, and that's what I think Cole and I were saying, is that it would make them want to, right? At least no. It wouldn't make the state want to give out more licenses. It would make the people with the licenses push for their licenses to be differently classified.
Sure.
Where I can tell you, or I can designate how much portion of my product is actually going to medical, so that I can get the tax write-off for it. And then, like, what you would see is an inflation of medical products sitting on shelves inside dispensaries that hold a medical license, because they would be able to force more. It would be like a vertically integrated thing where you just force more into certain sectors, and you go, okay, well, we get the tax write-off for it, and maybe maybe you just put all of your spoilage through to the medical side, or you give your kind of older product, the stuff that you don't want, you need to hurry up and get rid of, you push it all through there, because at least you can write it off. So
I mean, I don't think you can actually do that.
But that's what I'm saying. But what is the Schedule 3 manufacturer license benefit anybody unless they can write off the product that they're creating, which would then mean that they could write off their labor. It would mean that they could write off their electricity used to grow that medical product. And my guesstimation is that they would, use it to their benefit. This is how businesses play, right? Like, they're not dumb.
Yeah.
So you write off your losses against your wins. And
sure.
Then you see what I'm saying? Like, you could do some balancing act between that would make it. Ben Flood, what's up, brother? And this is exactly it. Some cat on the internet. That's the whole point, is by them doing this, why wouldn't you just put everybody on the medical side? Why wouldn't you just put
The state
all of your
does.
product as much as you humanly could under your medical license so you could write it off if it
Well,
gets to
yeah.
a point of spoilage, especially if you have the ability of taking the product from the medical side and putting it on the recreational side for sales. You know what I'm saying? Like there's if that transfer is allowable, and granted, you might need state approval to get it done. If that transfer is allowable, why wouldn't you just use your medical dispensary as a staging area for your rec dispensary and only sell the rec stuff that's actually going to sell? And then,
Dave, here's something I thought about earlier, and that I just remembered that I thought about because I smoke a lot of weed. Does this change anything for gun owners?
oh,
That's a question, huh?
That's a mighty fine question.
Especially in states like Illinois, where you have double checks.
If it's prescribed by your doctor, it's the same thing as like being prescribed opiates.
Sure.
Well, I haven't thought that far into it, but now that you bring it up, yeah. I mean, it would be whose interpretation of, but my guesstimation would be that, again, that like the shop would be in the business of selling something to somebody. Shops want to sell things. So the fact that they have restrictions against people from purchasing from their shop means that it kind of sucks more for them. So then wouldn't the shop owner then, I mean, like, if you're able to overlook it, you would rather overlook it and you'd rather sell the product. So, I mean, there is a place that it definitely benefits. And again, I just don't know if federally how that check's going to work out, right? I mean, it's prescribed by a doctor. So I don't know. I think it's got to ease up on the at least federal banning of you purchasing.
Where was he was in kept a gun at home for self-defense, Second Amendment, DC versus Heller, blah blah blah. Some cat. Where is Hamani located? Because I know there was the Philadelphia, I believe a Philadelphia district attorney who was also, or Pennsylvania district attorney at least, who was a medical cannabis user and also a legal gun owner and wanted to be able to continue, using his God-given right to self-defense. And he was also suing the government or asking the government to make it like that. Yeah. I just wonder if it changes anything in Illinois, because Illinois has FOID cards and extra background checks, and especially med card holders can't exercise their Second Amendment right without many extra steps. Yeah. We'll see. Because I know Department of Justice also said that they didn't expect that today's rescheduling would get in the way of, what would they say? I'm slightly paraphrasing here. Get in the way of seeing the case through completely, having to do with another federal gun case in cannabis.
Yeah. I don't pay as close attention as I used to those facts.
Sure.
I'm taking what you're saying as gold to begin with. I imagine you have looked into this far better than I have. But as far as, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful.
I mean, I'm hopeful too. I mean, it's something. Oh yeah, Supreme Court case on gun rights for marijuana users not impacted by federal rescheduling. DOJ says. Is that what you're talking about? You didn't know that any med card holders could or could not exercise their Second Amendment rights. I said they could not exercise them in Illinois without a bunch of numerous extra steps, which is currently, if you're a med or caregiver, you can only purchase a gun through a private sale.
Yeah. And it's because of a federal background check.
Correct.
That states
we have two of them.
Yeah.
We have the same one the federal government gives everybody. We have one that's done by the state police that is the federal background check. And because the state police know that you have a federal or you have a medical cannabis license, they will just not ever run your background check. And so you're just stuck.
Dude, I told you I didn't read far down. I'm going to fucking bring this back up really quick.
Sure.
The proposed amendments to Part 1301 establish a new registration pathway for state licensed medical marijuana entities seeking federal DEA registration as manufacturers, distributors, and/or dispensers. The regulation creates an expedited review process under which the applicants holding state medical marijuana licenses may submit their existing state credentials as conclusive evidence of state authorization. So you still have to submit your paperwork to the DEA to get approval through this process.
Right.
Like I said, I only read up to about page 19 or 20. And like I'm like partially sitting here because you're back and I appreciate you for it. I was trying to thumb to see. So like you literally have to go through a process, which means that there is, and I almost walked it back. There is no light switch that just went off.
Right.
There is no immediate Schedule 3 for medical dispensaries. You have to license, you have to submit your shit to the DEA still to get approval. And the framework for doing so, and it literally says it right here. All right. Seeking federal DEA registration as manufacturers, distributors, or dispensers. And that's where what some cat on the internet just said is this right here.
Yeah, the fee.
Each application. So now to become one of these things, which makes you valid for 3 years, and then it goes on to say if you don't keep up with this, they'll take your license away and you won't be considered a Schedule 3 dispensary according to the DEA anymore, but you would still be compliant with your state regulation. Because your state is overseeing, and this is pretty much what this document is saying also, is that they're going to, as much as they can, not disrupt the programs that are already in place. So, yeah, I'm, I don't know. I want somebody so badly who is more of an authority on this to come in and tell me that I'm wrong and can articulate how that doesn't mean exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, ban all three-letter agencies, starting with Bureau of Land Management, or maybe Federal Reserve, but ATF can come right after. My argument, and I think the correct argument, some cat on the internet, is that while we do have a history in the United States for not allowing people who are currently intoxicated to have access to their firearms lawfully, once they are not intoxicated, we allow them back access to their firearms legally. And so cannabis, if you are not currently smoking cannabis, you should have access to your firearms. And if you're smoking cannabis, you probably shouldn't until you're of a sober mind again. I think that's going to be the correct argument that prevails. Because historically, that's what we've done in the United States. If you're drunk, you can't, but you can when you're not drunk. That's our established standard, or however they call it. I'm not a Supreme Court nerd, so not that you are, but you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah. No, but this is my whole point about all of this, and Ben, I'm with you. But my whole thing, and honestly, like I would rather run it. No offense, lawyers are fine, but you can literally get the same output from a large language model nowadays, honestly.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is a brand new law that is purely up to interpretations.
Sure.
There's no so laws don't become concrete and laws until there's implementation of them, until like it actually is, until you have cases to kind of bounce off of it, right? These are generalized frameworks, and yeah. But yeah, I think that, again, that's the beauty of this thing too, is that interpretation is still a thing. You in all laws, and this is how people have been getting away with, selling full-blown cannabis products under the guise of hemp, is by interpretation of the verbiage that they put forth within the laws. And it's not because it's more hemp or less hemp. It's because it's under the interpretation. It's fucking hemp. Like, what do you mean? And until the interpretation is different, you can continue to, as long as it's under 0.3 THC, delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol, the active compound that is not grown on a cannabis plant, whether it is cannabis sativa L, indica, ruderalis, medical, recreational, hemp, it doesn't matter. It doesn't grow on the plant like that. So THCA in great abundance can be sold under the guise of those interpretations. And that's my whole point to this is, though we believe that there's some concreteness, or it's literally until the implementation takes place that we will know what is right or wrong or real or not. And it will be until the first person submits to the DEA for their Schedule 3 license, or the first person gets a tax break without submitting to the DEA for their Schedule 3 license, that we will know the truth of it, because until then it is interpretable fact.
I would say the government also said that there was weapons of mass destruction,
but
and we all know that's wrong.
Yeah.
So like they could be wrong on that. You know,
it's fucked up too, because this isn't necessarily the current government's stance on things.
Right.
This is a lingering thing since the 1970s.
Also,
late 1960s and the 1970s, and it started with that UN treaty, and then it came over, and now we have our CSA,
Sure.
and that's our interpretation of.
Also, how messed up is it the government thinks that like cannabis users of all people are dangerous gun owners? Like, how many like weed smoking hippies do you know that are like, I want to go commit some violence, man? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
Well,
like,
I don't think that's like a rhetoric of the fucking
like reefer panic, reefer madness. Yeah,
that's still from there, and I don't. Talk to any cop in the world, and they're not going to tell you, well, okay, take that back. Not in the world. Talk to any cop in any semi-decriminalized cannabis possessible state, and they are going to tell you that they would exponentially rather deal with somebody who's under the influence of cannabis than somebody who's under the influence of alcohol.
Yeah.
So it's the public is very in favor of cannabis, and our current government also Health and Human Services, and I think the FDA also have given statements about how cannabis is less harmful than some of the other things, but the DEA has took it upon themselves to continually keep it classified the way that it has.
Well, I mean, because the DEA is the DEA, and like that's what they do. Like that's of course, like they're in charge of enforcement, and they want everything to be illegal. Like they're incentivized to keep everything illegal. Because if it's not, then what does the DEA do?
Well, yeah, no, and I'll piggyback fucking Ben and what he just said there. Like, there's a clear difference in who's doing what and what level of impairment this thing causes.
Right.
And it's not even questionable, but it's literally promoted through media, through the news, through fucking influencers.
Well, it's about breaking the stigma too, and that's why this can actually be a good thing, because we are breaking the stigma. And somebody said earlier, this is how we change minds in red states, because the stigma will be lessened.
Yeah.
Just by classification, like there is a point to classification as well. You know. There's a point in just public opinion and like you always say, the next generation of 18-year-olds who have never been, or 21-year-olds who have never been to a dispensary happens tomorrow.
We got new birthdays tomorrow.
That's
People
right.
who were born on 4/21/2020 or 2005.
Yeah.
Tomorrow they can go into a dispensary for the first time and consume cannabis.
That's right. And look at their favorite stores, Target, selling THCA hemp drinks now, and more and more. And hemp has been punching the stigma right in the mouth. It last week it punched Dave Cope right in the mouth.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, okay, I like this THCA stuff."
I've never had a problem with it.
I know.
I've literally said forever. It
was the in the mail stuff.
Yeah, and in the mail shit got me rocked. So,
yeah, impairment is the correct word. I hear intoxication all the time. Yeah, because you can be temporarily impaired and not always intoxicated.
They coincide to a degree, because a low level of impairment but a high level of intoxication doesn't, you know what I mean? Like that. And I guess you're right that there is because I mean the way that those two words, toxic, a toxin is what you would be talking about there. There is something that is going into your system that's causing a reaction. So there is a increased level of intoxication, and I think that that's where like the blood alcohol level would come from, right? So you get the 0.28 or whatever, but if there's people who are tanks and drink all the time and 0.28 blood alcohol level they're standing and functioning completely fine, which is the impairment side of things. But yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you on the non-toxic thing. It's not a toxin in that way.
No, not really. Barely green. The reason being is that I think
licenses.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at Vireo Health. I guess technically they're big pharma because they're comprised of doctors, and they own a bunch of like medical offices and stuff.
You know, if
but as far as like producing flower, no, because like
they wouldn't produce flower. Well, they would produce flower to make extracts.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you would.
I think they'd rather
like
buy
a
it,
Pfizer or a fucking whatever that is interested in. I mean, they make hundreds of billions of dollars. Their valuations are in the tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars. And and to purchase a dispensary or a cultivation license for a few million, or even, let's consider it super high, hundreds of millions. When we're talking in the hundreds of billions, it just a wink of the eye. But then to be able to take part of a $40 billion market share, which is what cannabis is expected to hit in the next however long, like, they would be foolish not to. So I would imagine that big pharma has potential. It's not a worry, but there's potential of them entering.
I mean, I'm more worried about. I'm more concerned. I'm not worried because I already think that it's bad. I'm concerned about the government entering cannabis and how much the government is entering cannabis, and I think that's going to be. I would rather have big pharma into cannabis than the government. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think it would be less detrimental to the plant.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be. Well, that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't
Yes.
want plant production for sales.
That's what I was getting to. Is that they wouldn't want plant production to be involved that way. It's not enough. Yeah, it's too hard to be good at a large scale.
Yeah. And the LD50 has been interpreted for cannabis a couple of times. It's an interpretation
It's like
of, because like you
bales
said,
of hay, bales of cannabis.
well, there's one statement out there that puts it at like 30 grams or something of pure concentrate, and then there is one that puts it at hundreds of pounds of, literally, I think it's like 50 or 100 pounds of raw concentrate. So you have a better chance of actually like knocking
What
yourself
kind
out
of
with it. But
banger do you gotta fucking have? What kind of industrial sized banger do you need to do that much concentrate? Do you think
you need a tent, dude. You need
You
a
think
tent
so?
and like a sauna,
like a plate?
yeah,
Like
like
how
a
big of a
sauna
quartz
with a real
plate?
big burner, dude.
You ever seen those like huge quartz tubes that they do, like industrial,
Yeah.
like super
Yeah.
room sized?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ben, fucked up, crazy shit. Billy Green, honestly don't think alcohol and cannabis is a good comparison, especially the way people use it. Yeah, I mean, but we all understand why it's made. Nobody is trying to compare them in the two ways. Like, my favorite comparison of the two, and what I tell people all the time, like, the difference between cannabis impairment and alcohol impairment is, if you're fucked up on alcohol, you are driving down the center of the two lanes, flicking off people who are getting in your way, going a little bit too fast. If you are cannabis intoxicated, you're tucked in the right lane, you're white knuckling, you're like more leaned into you're like just more present, you're more there. There's a different level of cognition that is, perceived through both levels of impairment. I will use your impairment word, it's fine. But there is, again, interpretable and not concrete, but there's also multiple interpretations of LD50s for alcohol. And then you would use body weight to play a factor in that. And then you would also so there's a lot of different factors that can be played into an LD50 to consider toxicity, right? But there is no doubt, and people have claimed it, whether it's from inhaling the fucking smoke or what, that there is a toxic level of consumption, especially through combustion. You can hit a point where there is too much and you have toxically shocked your system. And it could just be from the smoke. It's not the nicotine that kills, it's the smoke, All right. Yeah, if you know what I was just doing there, then yeah, you're a real one. Probably old internet in it. Cannabis and caffeine, that's a good comparison. Yeah, I think it's an okay comparison. I think that anything that gives you general euphoria after consumption, I think can be lumped probably in the same field of things. And I mean, sugar could theoretically be put into this category in the way of impairment goes, and it's not impairment as much as it is like interaction. So I guess um, outcomes people are expecting from using them: PTSD, anxiety, depression, etc. Well, and that's it. There's comparison in mildness of intoxication or impairment, right? There's a impairment thing that is we're trying to figure out the scale for impairment and which one really can impair you harder than the other one. And there's no doubt we all probably have massive tolerances to this thing. There is no doubt, I promise you, break your tolerance.
I heard they're
Consume too
playing the
much.
Sphere this year.
What's that?
No doubt. They're playing the Sphere this year.
Hell yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I do. I'll fuck with it, no doubt. But yeah, I think we all understand why we're trying to correlate, but there's also too like there's real science out there that we can track, and there's real math that makes this. Alcohol just unfortunately has no benefit to using it. A glass of wine a day, Ben, like they say, and it's benefit is subjective, right? Because if somebody can consume a glass of wine, which has a lot of antioxidants and other beneficial properties to it that isn't just the impairment of alcohol, and it helps them take the edge off, there's a benefit to that individual. I just think that overuse of anything, and I'm for the use of everything. If everybody goes for it, go all the way. Sugar is the gateway drug. Thank you, Suncat. And that's bingo. Once you have your tolerance, appreciate it, understand what it means. But this is also too the tolerance that I was just talking to my boy today. He's like, weed nowadays sucks, dude. It's all that THCA bullshit that they're fucking giving us. And it's not, I was like, man, you just don't understand the interpretation of it. Yes, I do. Yeah, because there's a big difference between 35% THC and 35% THCA. I said, yeah, there's a 13% difference. That's mathematical. Through decarboxylation, the conversion from THCA to THC molecularly in the weight, when we're talking percentages and milligrams and all the bullshit, it comes out at 13% of a difference. So, over a full 1,000 milligrams, all right, assumedly there is 1,000 milligrams of THCA, you do get 870 milligrams of active THC out of it. And 130 of something, assuming that it was all THC and you're taking 5 milligram gummies, feels like you're being robbed. But for the conversion of intoxication or impairment that we're looking for through setting fire to the plant, you can use, we all know it. We all used to use cannabis that had sticks and stems and seeds, and it was shitty as fuck, had no crystalline structure, had no hair structure, was brown, pressed together into brick forms, and it got us impaired and it made us feel good. So there is
Ben wants you to check your text messages because he sent you pictures of himself.
Here's a great example of alcohol dependency. A buddy of mine had a minor heart attack from a blockage. Put on blood thinners, told by the doctor to not consume alcohol while on them, left hospital and went to the bar. Well, that's fucked up. I mean, come on. Oh, by the way, check your text messages. At some point, I just remembered I sent you something. Okie doke.
Knowing Ben, it's probably...
Oh, I see it. Okay. I'll get back to you on that. Oh, that's a while away. Oh, you know what? I'm out of state. Unfortunately, I already can tell you right now that's something I'll be able to say. But we'll chat more. Addiction or dependency. Do you know what the thing is? You become chemically dependent if you use it for long enough. Actually, the functions of your anatomy, your literal organs, function differently under prolonged use of some of these things, including alcohol. So there almost becomes a physical dependency, but it's more of a physical shock that's caused by not having that going, which the physical shock of taking something completely away from somebody can also kill them, which is why titration, and when you're taking a medication from a doctor, they have a get on plan and a get off plan where they walk you back from it, because your physical, your anatomy and physiology, the way that your body interacts with itself, is altered by putting that chemical into it for a prolonged period. So yeah, dude, I mean, that's a tough that's a interchangeably but also very distinct difference of a combination there, addiction and dependency, and we could probably have a long conversation on it.
Addiction versus dependency. I'm going to remember that, Dave.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great topic.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I can give you the short of it, which is that I think addiction is more of a psychological response. Dependency is more of a physiological response. Yeah. So that's my rant on that.
That's your rant on it? Awesome.
So the addiction symptoms for cannabis passed in 24 hours. In this report that they just put out today, there is a statement that says after 2 to 6 days or something. It says 2 to 4 days, 2 to 6 days. I'll see if I can quickly scroll around and find it, but it mentions that like the cessation of cannabis use can happen quite rapidly, and you stop feeling those addiction things in like as little as 2 days, and then it says that like it's fully out of your system in 2 to 4 weeks. It literally says it in this document that they just put out today. But as I'm scrolling through and rambling, I am unable to find it. So how about that?
How about that? I ain't got much more in me, Dave.
Oh, you're good, bro. I also probably won't stick around too much longer, I guess, too. I think there is there's been a lot of conversation. We started a little bit earlier, too. And there's still plenty open for interpretation. I appreciate everybody's input on it. Aaron, I can't tell you how much I thank you for setting this all up and getting Cole to be part of it.
Yeah.
And for Cole's followers, people who are coming in just because they're members of Cole's community, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you for sticking around for as long as you have. And again, the conversation is awesome. And every single statement that has been said by every single one of you is right tonight, right? Like nobody is wrong and nobody is 100% right, including me. I'm not 100% right. I don't know, but my interpretation of it is what I've been kind of ranting on for the whole entire evening. And, you know, yeah, some cat on the internet. I absolutely will. Brandon Krieger, I really appreciate that. It was,
absolutely.
Great having all of you be part of it. I'm going to do a quick shout out to all my friends here, Miss Anita and Lucy. Happy Thursday night. I appreciate all of you. We miss y'all greatly. Appreciate y'all keeping us updated, or at least trying. Barely Green, I'm going to do my best. I still have levels of interpretation. You know, we can get into it. But John Voight, Barely Green, Brandon Krieger, Gary Cornett, Drummer, Ben Flood, Gawani, Satisfied Mind, Salsa Courier, Alyssa, and Angelo, 2 dope dudes. Dudley Dawson, Chi-Town Hi-Fi, Sean Whitney, Barely Green, Garrett Cornett, some cat on the internet.
Stankum Dankum.
Stank and Dankum. Oh, I like that.
Stankum Danks. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few others up here.
Skunk Ape, Listen
Ape
Angelo.
Blast, that was what I was going to go for. Yeah. Yeah. You must be at about the same place. Cole, gotta love that guy. Fucking amazing that he did it. I think I've gone. Oh, I'm scrolling so far.
Genetic Memory Farms.
Yeah. Wow,
Sad Boy Bulls.
Oh, Hawaii Sustainable.
Yeah, Hawaii Sustainable. Local X1 as well.
Listen, there
and Token Pothead.
Token Pothead, dude. Dabby Hayes, 1502.
Yeah. Daily Homegrown.
Daily Homegrown.
Daily Homegrown, theseedlocker.com.
Oh, you need to check it out if you
Gawani.
haven't. I actually really like that thing. Yeah, Gawani's the man. Mr. Rourke. Holy shit.
Mr. Rourke as well.
That's it. Yep. I think I've almost made it to the top. I can't stop now because I'm gonna feel terrible.
Yeah, I think that's a Chi-Town Hi-Fi. Chi-Town Hi-Fi.
Yeah, Local X1. Yeah, we already said that. Yep. Oh, Smoking Pots and Pans, man.
That's right.
Yep. I just want to find all the friends. Everybody's been included. There's so much. Dude, this is one of the coolest things to be able to scroll back this far and see this much interaction. You guys are the fucking best. I love you all. Thank you again. Descheduling has happened. Peace, my friends.
I hope you find peace when you need it.
I hope you strike peace when you seek it. I hope you find love when you need it. And I hope you can cope when you feel it. Peace.
Avocado.
Dude. Thank you, Smacky Pants.
And don't forget, fentanyl ain't no good.
That fentanyl ain't no good. That fentanyl ain't no good. That fentanyl ain't no good. Disgusting. Donuts. Donuts. I love you all. Thanks again for being here. You guys are the fucking best.
Peace.
Have a wonderful night. Talk to y'all soon. Bye, friends.